Hey everybody, my name is Dalton from the Steam Machine Podcast, and you are listening to Dane and Jeff's Meaty Dumps. Wait, what? Oh, you are listening to Dane and Jeff's Media Dump. I'll be back in 20 minutes.
There are two competing theories on why my wife went into labor early. So, one theory, we drove like an hour every week one way to go to church. And right after she got pregnant, they started construction on this bridge that was right in the middle of everything, and we had to keep detouring around it. Added like an extra 20 minutes to our trip every week. And my mom made the joke, you know, it's taking them so long to fix that bridge. The day they fix it, you're probably going to have your water break.
Ooh.
Coincidentally, the Sabbath that we were able to drive over that bridge, the next morning, my wife's water broke.
Classic mom curse.
Right?
Yeah, so option one, my mom is a prophet.
I like option two.
Option two, now keep in mind my wife is 6 months pregnant. The week before her water broke, we did a movie binge where I made her watch the entire Alien quadrilogy.
Ooh.
All right.
Now, if you know anything about the symbolism from this movie,
Yeah.
the chest burster, which we will talk plenty about this later, is like a analogy for the violent erupting of a child
Right.
from the vagina, except now through the chest, and it's guaranteed to take your life. So we watched the first one. She's sitting there 6 months pregnant like, you're an asshole, Dane. I'm like, I know. There's 3 more of these movies. You are such an asshole. And we watched every single one of them. And then she went into early labor. I'm not saying that she decided she wanted that kid out of her before it was going to rip her a new one, but my daughter was 4 pounds, 13 ounces when she came out.
That's just a little guy then.
So, not my best moment in husbandry.
What are you talking about?
But,
I mean, you should.
and you
And then there was a
some
time I was going to
classic
take her to vacation in Texas, so I showed her the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre quadrilogy.
we watched Jaws before the first time we went to the beach.
We watched Jason X before we went to space.
Like I won like this scratch off and had a really nice lottery payout, but not enough to like buy a house or anything. So I rented this whole hotel. We had the whole thing to ourselves up in the mountains. It snowed, and we watched The Shining just on repeat.
You can't overlook that.
And on that note, let's get this nonsense on the road. I'm Mr. L. Dane Puzzle Esquire, Mr. Puzzles for short, Dane for shorter, and you were listening to Dane and Jeff's Media Dump. With me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Grumpy Jeff. Jeff, how you doing, man?
I am good, buddy. How you doing this wonderful evening?
I'm excited because, as some people have probably heard, we got some guests with us tonight.
Yeet!
You.
Enlighten
Yep.
us. Who are these wonderful gentlemen that we seem to have with us?
Well, our fellow Yeeter here, as you just heard, he's a joker, he's a smoker, he's a midnight toker. Steam Machine Dalton. How you doing, Dalton?
Hey, what's up, man? I am doing good, my good sir. I have a question for you, Dane.
Yeah.
Are you maidenless?
Technically, I did go after the bad ending.
Yeah.
That bitch abandoned me on the mountain.
I'm doing good, man. I'm just chilling, waiting for this storm to come through and wreak havoc and see what the aftermath is like. And I think I have a slipped disc. Other than that, I'm great, dog.
Oh, dude, that is rough, man.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to bring the levity, like, nah, storms and back problems.
Hey, man, I'm nice and stoned, if that counts for anything. Ready to go.
Don't
Ready
you
to
know
go.
that? Don't you know that pain and worry is pure comedy?
That's true. Tragedy is comedy.
At a distance. And you are a few states away, so yeah, I guess
Yeah,
we'll
you guys
laugh
can
at
laugh
you.
at me, vicariously through the news and things.
I don't remember who it was that said it, but it was something along the lines of, tragedy is when I stub my toe, comedy is when you fall down a manhole and die.
Yeah, exactly.
And that lovely pearl of wisdom came from our extra guest host that slid in at the last minute, Slick Willie,
Yo!
Elder
slid
Brother
in.
Destruction.
Half of the
How you doing,
Destructo
Willie?
Bros.
Yes. I'm a regular, frequent host of the Steam Machine podcast as well, and just a general ne'er-do-well. I'm just here to have fun.
Well, gentlemen, we are glad that you're both able to partake in what is the first episode of Spooktober.
Yeah.
Welcome. Let's ring in Spooktober. We got off to a bit of a late start because this is basically a 5-week October again.
Yeah.
Well, you can count this as making up one of the missed episodes.
Absolutely. I wicked do.
We working together on this one. And I know we've been talking about doing this one since, I think, before our first episode actually launched.
Yeah.
I think one of us made a joke about a crossover episode talking about some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
Man, Alien and some Alien Isolation. Now, I'm curious more about the game, because I know we're going to talk a lot about the movie. Who here has the game, but also has some DLC? Anybody besides me?
I got the full DLC set.
You? Okay.
I have obtained the game in some sense, but I do not know how much content I have yet. I'll have to look through it a little bit more carefully.
I know exactly what you mean. So
I only have the base game.
Okay.
And I put in a few hours, but that's it.
You're so based.
I haven't loaded it up yet because I've been playing a couple other things, but like the
pretty eyes. Sorry, kitty cat.
Thank you, Willie.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you too, Dalton. Look at.
There's a DLC for Alien Isolation that allows you to play through the entirety of the first movie, and I think that's just cool.
I know I saw that. I had to remind myself whenever I was doing my test run, like, don't jump into the DLC. Play the base game. That's what we're all going to be talking about next week.
I mean, I suppose we might as well talk about it. It's been confirmed Isolation 2 is getting a release. Not sure when, but that'll be exciting.
Classic instance of it's coming up for TSMP, so they're going to do something with it.
Yeah,
Dalton has a really stupid ring cloud of magic that surrounds him.
It's weird, man. I don't know why, but like we're gonna do Isolation now. Isolation 2 is coming out. We did Red Dead 2 and talked about how much we want Red Dead 1 to come to PC. It's coming to PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did Red Dead just episode 2 on Media Dump.
Yeah. It's like, if that could just keep happening, that would be sweet. And we can just talk whatever we want to into existence. That would be awesome.
Free Space 3.
Play
Free
Hollow
Space
Knight
3.
again.
Free Space 3.
Free Space 3.
No, Silk Song.
Silk Song.
I know Nate will come back for Silk Song.
Star Fox. Give us Star Fox.
Star Fox 65?
69.
Ooh, nice.
That'll be a furry's wet dream.
It's just crystal. It's all crystal.
Hey, don't knock.
There you go.
I'm not knocking you. I'm saying Crystal is like the designated sexy character.
I'm gonna make
nobody's getting wet for Slippy, dude.
Well,
Doki Doki Literature Club mod. I'm gonna put Crystal as Monica and send it to Jeff so he can play it. It's just Crystal.
He will never get to see the ending.
I'll just
Crystal.
My face just be like, wow. Well, it's my two. I actually now have another favorite blue lady, and that's Liara from Mass Effect.
Yeah, Liara's a great character, dude. I can't wait to see more of her.
Who wants to create a mod to have them in a mud pit wrestling?
I tell you what, I'll do my best to create them in Wrestling Empire. And I'll see what I can do for you.
Fantastic.
Create them in Wrestling Empire. Not that they've added all the amputation, decapitation shit to that game.
Dude, yeah. I'm in a hardcore match with this guy, and I pulled out a chainsaw and I chopped his arm off, and then the chainsaw blew up, which blew one of my arms off and blew his other arm and leg off, and then he had surgery to replace his missing limbs and stuff. It was just, that game's wild, bro. They have I threw somebody in the subway in front of the train, and it cut all of their head and all of their limbs off, and I was like, oh, they're dead. But what was funny was that I sent Willie a screenshot, and it said Erwin Shyster, which was IRS, had surgery to have his head reattached, but he was dead. But they reattached his head before they buried him. So
well, that's nice of them.
I thought exactly. I was like, oh, yeah, that's nice.
That's why they call him the Repo Man, baby.
Yeah, he was getting that shit back.
Yep.
Anyway, Dane, we have derailed.
He looks so natural. Why is his tie so tight?
It's a freaking old that Japanese folklore legend about the girl with the ribbon tied around her neck. If you take it off, her head falls off.
Dude, I think that shit happens in some African tribes where they do the neck stretching with the rings.
Ooh. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
If they remove those, it's like their neck's so elongated that the muscles don't hold it up right, so they have to wear them after they start doing that.
Have you ever seen the x-rays of those women?
I haven't, no.
the way the rings work, it doesn't actually stretch their neck upward. It pushes their shoulders down, so it's like pretty much breaking the clavicle and pushing everything down and compressing the upper part of the rib cage.
It just seems
Like, you see the x-rays of it, it's just painful looking.
I was gonna say that sounds painful.
So they become like the opposite of Bill Goldberg?
Episode 4, we're way off the rails. Shit's getting wild.
Well, this is
what I
media
do
dump.
I have seen like x-rays of like Western corseted women too, or like skeletons of like women that wore corsets a lot when they were alive. I mean, as most people, you don't wear shit when you're dead usually, but they're also really weirdly distorted.
And then the Asian ladies who do the feet binding because they want to keep their feet small looking, and it's like, oh, don't do that to yourself. That hurts me, and not for the reasons y'all were probably thinking, but that hurts me because it's like, dude, just walk normal. Like, if you have the ability to walk normal, walk normal. There are people who can't. Like, fucking hell.
Man.
This has been our show about skeletal modulation.
Hey, I'm just saying, it's Spooktober. We're talking about body horror. So,
this is IRL body horror.
Hey, you
People
nailed
do
it,
for
dude.
their own beauty is terrifying at times.
And this movie is all about body horror. Not
That's
really.
true. That's true. It's
There's
very
some body horror.
psychosexual.
Just some, but not much.
Not as much as I thought. Like, I know that the themes are psychosexual, but like the actual horror itself tends to be a little bit more almost jump scare-ish. It's like it's tension and release.
It's definitely thriller horror.
Yeah, thriller. Thriller's a good word for it.
Or suspense horror.
I'm sure everyone here knows the fact that I have, but I do have a fun fact about the end of this movie when we get there. Dane, you probably already know what I'm going to bring up.
I think I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah.
Probably. So we want to go ahead and jump into everything?
Yeah, we can, man.
Since we've just been all over the place.
Does anyone want to talk about something, or do we just want to jump right into the movie? Any fun anecdotes? No?
I mean, other than like my little Lily Poo got spayed, so she's been running around in her little outfits. I've been taking pictures for everybody and posting them in the Discord. She's been cute as shit. But let me tell you something real quick about that puppy. She has an insane amount of energy. Do you know how hard it has been to keep that puppy calm so she can heal? Oh my God. I will say the healing spot looks wonderful. It's healing up just like it should be. There's no redness or anything, it's good. But oh my God, to tell that dog, all right, don't jump on the bed. You're not supposed to jump on the bed. What was that? Jump on the bed. Zoom. Damn it, Lilith. I got to pick her up by her butt and her chest because I can't get her like I normally do and then sit her down, and then she just jumps back up there and I'm like, go, you're going to
We went through the exact same thing when our cat also got spayed, and same thing. The doctor is telling us, make sure she doesn't do any high jumping, keep her as calm as possible. It's like you're expecting us to tell I think at the time, a 7-month-old cat to stay calm. Yeah. We'll do our best. We'll have a nice sit down with her.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, I talk to her. I'm like, hey, listen, just calm down. But no, that dog is like, I don't know the meaning of calm unless I'm tired.
Well, she's a shepherd. What do you expect?
Oh yeah. Dude.
She got shit to do.
I gotta get those sheep, man.
Dude, that dog loves to grab a cicada and just hold it in her mouth. And she'll run around with a cicada in her mouth. And that cicada is just so you just hear this noise coming from the inside of her mouth. And she's just looking around. I'm like, you are such a derp. Drop it. Like, drop it. And then she could say,
that's way more adorable than what my dog used to do. He wouldn't mess with cicadas. He would peel groundhogs like a fucking banana. Eat them from the inside out, peel it back, and then dump that on the front porch.
Peel is such a visceral word there.
Like a banana.
Well, I mean, there's no other way to describe it. I watched him do it. It's like horrifying, but kind of majestic in a way. And we couldn't keep him tied because his neck was thicker than the back of his head. So he would just break loose and go out and peel every fucking groundhog within a 3-mile radius. And then one time he sucked the entrails out of it and forgot to chew, came in the house and just barfed up a whole interior of a groundhog in the bedroom.
That
fully intact.
is so brutal. That's awesome.
We thought one of the cats had got the wrong end of his stick.
It's the circle of life.
It's the beauty, and that goes back to the conversation we were having before we went on air. Nature's scary, dog.
I'm crying.
Like, nature is terrifying.
Gotta go in his bedroom and give him the old inverted groundhog. Yeah, baby.
My thing is always, I was like, man, you know how quiet cats are? They creep around.
No.
Like, okay, well, my outside cats are very stealthy. Like, they can move around. They don't make a fucking lick of noise, right? Especially when they're after something. I've watched that cat dart across the yard and make zero noise. I always tell people, think about how cats are when they can do that. Tigers, lions, jaguars, they're all also cats who can also move that quietly, except they have a bite force that will crush your skull. And that is terrifying.
And they're like 5 times faster.
I got a fun story for you here. I don't know if I've ever told this on a show before, so this might be a first on here on Media Dump. Me and my dad and my mom and my dad's mom went to a place down in South Florida called the Octagon, and it was an animal rescue sanctuary. And we were walking around and looking at all these different animals. They had like bears that didn't have any teeth and stuff because they had been rescued from circuses and things like that. So we're walking down this long dirt path, and it's me and my dad walking side by side. We're up front. Probably about 15 feet back is my mom, and probably about 15 feet, 20 feet back from her is my grandma. We're all just kind of making our way through looking at stuff. So me and my dad are walking towards this small cage, probably 8 foot wide by, 8 foot. It was decently small, but it was a fucking tiger in here, right? Just pacing back and forth. Now, what's holding this tiger in is some nice, heavy, durable chain link just rigged up. And me and my dad are walking up to it, and my dad's like, well, he looks antsy, doesn't he? And I'm like, I don't remember what I said. I was little. I was like 7, maybe 6. So I do have a vivid memory of this tiger walks back to the back of the cage and takes a running start and leaps up and hits the fucking cage with his paws, and it bends out, right? Ooh. My dad got tiger spit on him. That's how close we were. My dad said that his first thought was, oh my God, I'm about to die to save my family. This tiger's about to kill me. He turned to look at me and saw a plume of dust and looked behind him. I was past my mom, making my way past my grandma, hauling ass in the other direction. I was gone. But the tiger dropped down and just went back to pacing back and forth, and we got the fuck away from it. But bro, you want to talk about scary? That was the biggest thing I had ever seen, and it jumped towards us like it was wanting to eat us, and it was like, oh my God. So yeah, my fight or flight, that's like, I was in a lake around here once, and a gator surfaced probably 7 feet away from me, and I pretty much walked on water to get back to fucking land. Bro, I ain't never swam so fast in my fucking life. I don't care how big the gator was. In my head, it was big. I don't care if it was like 3 or 4 feet. I'm in its element. No, fuck that. Man, fuck Florida. I hate this place. Fucking Australia of America.
Well, at least at a young age, you definitely had the whole, you don't have to be the fastest, just faster than the slowest guy. And apparently your dad had the short straw.
I think about that sometimes, and I'm like, God, that could have went so much worse. Like, oh my God.
Man, tigers are fucking scary. We took my little girl to the zoo, and they had a much bigger enclosure for their tiger, and it had the big, like, bulletproof glass walls. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple spots where you could walk in and have a little bit of shade and watch it pacing around, and had a giant ball to play with.
I'm just thinking, if it's bulletproof, that means that tiger could use a gun? That's incredible.
He was packing. And but that motherfucker, like, he stopped whenever we walked in and starts mad dogging me. You want to talk about feeling like you're going to piss yourself? When you have a fucking tiger locked onto you, I don't care how thick that damn glass is. It wasn't thick enough anymore.
Dude, the look in their face.
And I was pretty sure he couldn't make it through that. Yeah, it's like, I can eat you.
That is a primal hunger. Yeah, a primal hunger looking at you like, you would be my food. And it's like, oh shit, you are right.
He's like, I want the bald pigeon-chested one.
Have y'all seen that video of that? They're in the enclosure with the big thick glass, and that gorilla runs full speed and hits the fucking glass, and it doesn't break, but it spiders it.
It cracks. Oh, yeah. Yes, that I would lose all my bowels.
Yeah, dude.
Piss, shit,
everywhere,
vomit, everything. It's just like, I'm okay. I am on the ground from dehydration.
Yeah. I
First
would,
you say it, then you do it.
That would probably be the highest that I have ever screamed. I would let out an ear piercer if a fucking gorilla threw a punch and almost broke through the glass coming at me. Oh my God.
Luckily, I've never experienced anything like that, but Then again, I think our zoo is a little more protected. Yes, it has like the bulletproof glass. There's also like maybe a 7-foot gully between the enclosure and the glass.
Now, Jacksonville Zoo is like that, yeah. This place with the tiger that I was talking about was like just this little sanctuary that ran off of donations and stuff to help keep these animals, in health and out of the predicaments that they were in before.
The only thing that actually really threatened my life...
Oh, he was a big cat rescue.
The only thing that ever threatened my life was a goose. I was working.
They're fucking dicks, though.
I was working at a grocery store at the time. I was maybe 18, 19 years old. I was outside. This was summertime. I was pushing carts, and I got a little too close to a goose nest, and the male just all of a sudden just turned and started charging towards me. And of course, it started flapping its wing and it started flying. And I'm just like, okay, fuck you. I'm out of here.
Wait, you know why people actually keep geese, don't you?
Good eating? I don't know.
No, it's because they're bastards.
Yeah.
It's like, chickens will give you so many eggs a day, and you can have ducks, which will give you a few, but you always keep 2 geese because the geese won't fuck with the chickens, they won't fuck with the ducks. But at night, like weasel or a fox tries to come in and fuck with the hens, fuck with the ducks, the geese will beat it to fucking death if it doesn't run out. So you keep them around to be the bastards, and they protect the ones that actually give you the eggs and stuff.
I'm going to be honest, just based on their temperament, I actually do kind of like a Canada Goose's odds against a fox.
If you got a fucking problem with Canada Gooses, bud, then you got a problem with me, and I suggest you let that one marinate. It's one of the best fucking episodes of Letterkenny. Where they're going to pour oil in the Canada Goose nest to get them out of the golf course, and they're all like, what? Smash their beer bottle.
I've never watched Letterkenny.
Oh my god.
I've seen like the first full episode, and I loved the random rant that they get into with the hockey players.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of bits and pieces throughout the series.
Yeah, I've seen
the
clips.
biggest thing I know about the
intros.
show. Yeah, the biggest thing I know about the show is I actually watched an interview with I don't even know the dude's name, but the main guy on there, where he was explaining the joke behind calling someone tin ply.
Because he's thick.
As
yeah.
in tin ply. Yeah, super. Because it's just tin ply. I'm like, is this some weird Canadian slang? I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And over the course of it, I was like, oh, toilet paper.
Yeah. 10-ply toilet paper. Super soft. That's also, yeah, dude, the fact that back and forth with the hockey players is the first scene of the first episode. And the first
What kind of
fucking
backwards ass
line
pageantry is that?
is the nice onesie. Does it come in men's? Oh, I think you come in men enough for us all, bud. Like, it's the first joke in the show. Like, it's just, oh, yeah. There's a whole, I'm going to find the clip. I'll send it to all 3 of you. There's the whole bit where he talks about this dude who went into space and decided to beat off in the space station. And
I don't think I know this one.
The repercussions of that. And he's like, you ever thought about when you were going to space school that you'd have to go and catch some dude's floating load? Just... And
It's even funnier with a Canadian accent too, because it's like floating load.
Oh, and the best, the best part's actually the blooper of watching them have to do that like 30 something times before they finally got through it and not without laughing. Like it's fucking tremendous. But we're not here to talk about
That is a sign of a good joke.
Huh?
I said that is a sign of a good joke. You have to do it that many times before it stops being funny, so you can actually get a clean take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a fucking hilarious scene.
I'll add it to my list. I'm currently still trying to get through Parks and Rec, and I've decided that Ron Swanson is my spirit animal.
I love Ron.
Oh, I fucking love Ron Swanson.
Dude, I don't think this would be technically a spoiler, but there's an episode where something breaks. I don't remember what breaks. And Ron starts being like, all right, let's find out who broke it. And it just starts like everyone just starts accusing one another and everyone starts shouting. And then it goes into one of those interview things where it's just Ron. He goes, I broke it.
Yeah.
He's like, I got mad and punched it or whatever it is. He is such a good, that is a fucking like one of TV's best characters in my opinion. Ron
He's just
Swanson.
such a 1970s machismo throwback, and it's really fun just to see him put up with all the other people, like very 21st century people otherwise.
The man just wants his liquor and his steak. You can't
You
get
know-
steak.
Turf.
I want
You can relate.
I want all the bacon and eggs that you have.
All right, how many? No, I don't believe that you. No, I want to make sure you understand me. I want all of the bacon and eggs that you have. Tremendous.
I think one of the greatest scenes I ever saw with him, and Jeff, you might want to uncover because this is a mild spoiler. I don't know how far you're
I'm
into
in
it.
season 6, so It's fine. Go
All
ahead.
right, you probably see it. But whenever his ex-wife shows up,
Which
they're
one?
like-
Tammy 1 or 2?
yeah, it's like, Tammy's here. I know Tammy's all right. No, the other Tammy. And he like breaks into a fucking wall, pulls the peg out, stabs it into the drywall, steps up, breaks out the fucking grate, pulls a bug out bag, and just dis-a-fucking-peers. Like, this is a situation the man prepared for.
It's even funny because this woman's even worse because Tammy 2, the second wife, she's just like, oh, goodbye. I'm out of here.
Yeah, because they've been trying to run her off for like a full episode at this point. And then the other Tammy shows up. And I think didn't his wife have to show up? Or not his wife, but his mom have to show up to run her off?
Yeah.
You get your wife or your mom
Big
confused
Tammy.
often, Dane?
What was it?
Only twice.
Hey, you know, some people
I don't
like
want to talk
call-
about it.
Some people like to call someone mommy. It's all good.
That's really
Oh man, there's terrible jokes that I could tell right now, but since I'm a father, I've refused to tell them anymore.
That's a good idea. Don't put it on permanent record.
Oh no, it's just now I feel skeevy because of it. It's one of the few things I feel guilty about making a joke of in my life.
Fair enough.
Well, I guess we do have the rest of the show to get into.
What? Oh wait, shit. We're recording a show. Fuck.
No, this is more just a casual conversation that just happens to have a occasional topic of the week.
Out of 30 minutes, we haven't addressed once.
Funnily enough, we're actually 20 minutes ahead of schedule, but I know that we're going to have a lot. Yeah, me and Jeff are usually about an hour in before one of us goes, hey, maybe we should talk about the actual thing. But we do have one other segment that we got to knock out. A little segment I call Ha Ha, Dalton Found an Error. And last week, not a damn thing.
Yeah, no.
You tried, you missed. We fucking nailed it. No mistakes. Don't go back and double check that.
No, yeah, I think the only thing that I had heard, and it wasn't even a correction, it was me trying to just help you remember the movie. I thought you were talking about Being John Malkovich, but I was wrong.
And I didn't even think about that one whenever I was talking about it. I was like, yeah, you know what? I can see how that one would come up. But I actually Googled it and didn't find it. But yeah. Oh, we had a clean one. He didn't catch his on anything, Jeff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting better with each episode.
So I have a question pertaining to the what we're here to talk about. My God, I just had a stoner moment. Now this is kind of like almost with the flow of the Steam Machine. I'm curious with you boys. This was the first. I thought I had seen Alien before. I had not. Dane, since you were the one that suggested this movie to me, I'm more curious. When was the first time you watched this movie?
Probably 5 years old.
Okay, so young. And Jeff, were you
Yeah.
roughly the same, little older?
Yeah, I was only about maybe 33 when I saw this movie. I was a child back then.
And Willie?
I saw Spaceballs when I was 13, and it contains a reference to John Hurt's death in this movie.
That's true.
But no, I actually thought I'd seen this movie before, and I thought maybe I'd have just absorbed it through, cultural consciousness or whatever. But no, this is actually my first time sitting down and seeing it all the way through and really paying attention to it.
Yeah, and same here. I've seen Spaceballs, so I knew about that scene. Didn't expect it to do a little dance in this movie like it did in Spaceballs, but was disappointed.
my
that it did.
baby.
I'm a little disappointed that he didn't go, oh no. Not again.
But
See, the sad thing is, it's been so long since I watched Spaceballs. I don't remember a damn thing about that movie.
They
Oh, there you
recreate
go.
at the very,
All we can tell you is
towards the end.
all we can tell you is don't order the special.
there's
Check,
an
please.
immediate dump.
Yeah, I would absolutely.
Well,
be
I
on
know
board for
all of the
Spaceballs.
kitchen reasons not to order the special because that's what is getting ready to go bad, and they're trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. Would you like the chef special? Nah. No thanks.
Well, before we get too deep into it, shall we do our quick internet article blurb?
Yeah, let's do it.
So,
The Quiab, if you will.
lifted straight from IMDb, Alien. After investigating a mysterious transmission of unknown origin, the crew of a commercial spacecraft encounters a deadly life form. I think that pretty much sums up the movie. Roll credits. I don't think we need to say anything more.
That's all, folks.
But so we've kind of mentioned, I think it's really interesting. Me and Jeff, we've seen the movie before. Willie and Dalton, this is apparently y'all's first time. So I watched this at way too young an age. And kind of grown desensitized to the movie. I guess I've seen it so many times. Curious, did y'all actually find the movie scary at all?
Yeah,
or just
actually.
Tense?
It was definitely very tense. Tense is a very good word for it. There were definitely some moments where I was like, like the stereotypical theater-going family, like, oh, no, don't go in there. You know the alien's out there. It's not on his face anymore. You can't be in that room, dude.
So I have an odd opinion about this, and this will be something that we probably talk about more later. So I thought this movie did tension very well. As far as the horror goes, I felt like it was all right. Like, it had its scary moments. Most of them were kind of jump scares with a musical, which is, a stereotype these days, maybe not back when Alien first came out in the 80s,
Again,
So
1979. This
I
is
try
a
to keep
very
that in my
early
mind.
horror sci-fi movie.
And I
Like,
feel
not very early in the sense of, like, them or, like, B movies from the 50s or whatever, but, like, it predates a lot of the 80s horror conventions that we nowadays think of as the horror movie conventions.
Yeah. But I think once they showed the creature and started getting into that part, it lost something for me. And I don't know if that's just because of the time. So, like, to me, the alien looked like a dude in a suit wearing a really cool helmet, which I'm sure is what it was because it was practical effects. But again, I was trying to put myself back into the time of 79 and I'm like, or 80, whenever it came out. And I'm like, okay, I can see where back then this would have been like, holy shit. And the whole Geiger design of everything also made it very uneasy, which I think that's a lot what I felt in this movie. There was a good amount of unease.
Unease is a good word for it, too.
They
Unease
really tried
tension.
to make it claustrophobic. Everything is very small, close, like the hallways and everything.
I had a comment on that, too, which, like, the thing that the show is, like, the movie is most famous, obviously, for H.R. Giger's monsters, but, like, I really think that the way the spaceships are designed, like, the sets in this movie, basically every sci-fi to follow, like, all the fact that none of the hallways are, like, square corridors. The halls, the doors, none of it is at right angles. It's all very, like, octagonal and stuff, and, like, you see that, like, referenced in every sci-fi that comes afterwards. Like, the external ship shots, the shots of the Nostromo from outside, that looks like Star Wars, but, like, on the inside, it looks completely new, and I really do think that this movie influenced what people think a spaceship looks like.
Yeah, I was actually reading an article, and this was something that I didn't learn until just a few days ago. So, when they were trying to pitch the script, they felt like if they had some designs for a ship and stuff like that to show the people, because they were taking, like you said, big inspiration from Star Wars. That was a deliberate one. But they had two guys. They did a division of labor. One guy was designing outsides. The other was focusing solely on the inside. And he was trying to design the ship from a practical standpoint. Like, he didn't want to have an area that didn't look like it had a practical real purpose. Like, if you couldn't actually imagine people using it for this intended thing, then he didn't want to have it in there. But one of the constraints he had was they wanted everything tight. And if you pay attention, anytime you got a medium or wide shot in this movie, you can almost always see at least 3 parts of a room, like roof, ceiling, and at least one wall, just to make everything feel tied in. But the attention to detail they actually went through, they even went so far as to create an international, like, spaceship, like, warning codes. So if you actually look at any of the weird symbols, each of them actually have an intended meaning. Like, this one means no gravity in this area. This is a refrigerated cooling thing. Like, they went through massive, painstaking detail for things that most people aren't even going to notice, just because they didn't want anything superfluous to look futuristic on there.
I can appreciate
So there's a
that.
whole lot of practical intention behind everything that
I
I
thought
really
that showed
liked.
through, too, because, like, when I was watching it, like, again, this is 1979, so one thing I was really fixated on is the fact that it uses the older style of technology. It's all very analog, LED-based, and all of that. And so I was, like, looking closely at all the, like, light indicators and stuff, like, does that indicator have a purpose? Because there's the one room where they're in, speaking to the mother AI, and, like, all of the LEDs, there's like 1,000 LEDs in the room. If you look closely, all of them are labeled. They all have a meaning and a purpose. It's insane.
Yeah, it's one thing that this, I think, Ridley Scott and all the people who made this movie did very well is the attention to detail. I mean, you definitely know where you are. There are little, like, symbols on the ceiling showing you, like, okay, this direction is the infirmary. This way is towards engineering. So it's very... They did a very good job of letting you know where you are.
Yeah, the only time I felt lost, like, in terms of direction and navigation in the movie was when they first got onto the alien planet. And that's intentional, because they're exploring a strange world that they have no navigational coordinate for.
And I feel like that scene is one of the only times that the camera opens up and you are in somewhere that is massive. And I think that helps make that place feel bigger the way they shoot the rest of the movie.
When I was talking about set design, when John Hurt's character, like, emerges into the room with the eggs, like, that is such a huge room that I was, like, agape looking at it. Like, it reminded me of shots from, like, The Shining and stuff, where it was just, like, an incredibly huge and unique place that could only be done through the magic of cinema.
Now, a fun fact about the egg room. Did you notice the kind of laser effect in the fog right above the eggs?
Yes. It was like a blue laser layer to separate the outside air with the mist underneath.
Yeah, and when they reach to, it's like almost kind of like it's reacting. That was a last minute thing that they had to do to sell the kind of fog effect because it wasn't showing up properly. Huh. They borrowed that from the Who.
Oh, from their concerts?
Yeah, the band.
That's awesome. And they probably did that and they were like, we won't get fooled again.
But they did that, and the other thing that they did, talking about everything opening up when they were on the alien planet, the space jockey, the big alien fossilized skeleton that had the chest burster that had come through it at some point, to sell the effect of this is really, really big, Ridley Scott actually had his kids dress up in spacesuits and climbing on that to make it look like they were even smaller than they really were when interacting with it.
Oh.
Like, dude, just some of the way that they did the effects for the time really impressed me.
There were a couple places where it didn't work very well, but
I was about to say there was
in my opinion, few and far between.
There's a specific scene in the movie that I would like to talk about at some point that I was like, whoa, even for back then, I think they could have done that a little better, but they might have been tight on the budget by that point, you know?
Mm.
Well, they only had one of the prop, and it was like over 100 degrees on this soundstage where they were recording everything, and it kind of broke down before they got the shots done.
But yeah, like, I don't know, that's just the one thing I really wanted to bring up, is I thought that the set design is, like, the unsung hero of this movie. Like, everyone talks about H.R. Giger's fucking, alien designs that are amazing. Everyone talks about the performances by the actors, because they're amazing. But I don't think you hear a lot about, the set design, and I think the set design was incredibly influential.
I love the set design. I love the sound design as well. I love how you hear the buttons, you hear when they... when they going into the room where the mother is, they stick the card reader into the wall, and you just start hearing the tick. It's like that kind of sound effect I actually miss.
Yeah,
and it's one thing that I love that they brought back in the in Alien Isolation, which we'll talk about in a different time. But it's just those little things. It's just like, this is a time. It's a futuristic movie, but it's a timepiece. Yeah. If that makes sense.
It feels like there's a lot of tactile feedback to what the astronauts are doing, basically. Like, that it makes sense, like, in that universe, even though we don't really know what these things are. But it feels like, okay, they're going through some security protocol, they're going through some kind of activation. Like, it reads, you understand what they're doing, and the sound effects really help that. And I don't know, the little props, like you said, the little cards that they pull out and move from place to place, or like when they have to trigger the destruct sequence in the end, like, all of it seems like it's there for a reason,
Yeah.
And we don't know the reason will never be explained to us, but it feels internally consistent, it makes sense in the world. The world building is fantastic.
For sure. Okay, I have a question, because this was one of the first things that jumped out to me about this movie. Okay. Why is everybody on the ship a dick to Ripley? Like, everyone is an asshole. Everyone undermines her. Everyone, doesn't pay her any fucking attention. Even at the end, she finally puts her foot down. They listen to her somewhat. But, I mean, for the first 45 minutes of this movie, I was like, God damn. What is she, the step
Ash
kid?
is the main one. Ash is the main one that undermines her. He has a reason to, because he and her are at odds. But, like, Parker fucks with her because he's just a silly guy. He likes just being a little bit of a jokester with people.
What's his name? Brett. Harry Dean Stanton character, the guy with the hat. Same thing. Yeah. He's just like, I'm Parker's underling. Whatever he does, I follow. Yeah. And obviously,
he's the skull of the Vulcan skull.
And obviously, Dallas is gonna. I'm the captain.
He's the,
so
I'm
everything.
the boss. Applesauce.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, it's just.
But yeah, Ripley is obviously the one person that, if they had all listened to her from the start, like, she's the responsible one, and none of this shit would have happened.
Yeah, don't let it in.
The thing is, if you actually follow the ranks, they should have been listening to her.
She outranks Ash at the scene where he overrides the quarantine procedure, but that's also because Ash is
he has his own
compromised.
He has his own agenda.
Yeah.
He's also enforcing a different set of priorities at this point that the rest of the crew isn't privy to.
Right.
But the nature of being a warrant officer, you get that position by being an expert in something. And when you're made a warrant officer, it's because you know what the fuck you're talking about. Everyone's supposed to listen to you on that specific subject no matter what. And they didn't.
Right.
But let me ask you guys. So, did you suspect something was up with Ash? Like, did you think he should...
I didn't suspect what was actually going to happen with him, no. I suspected he was being a dickweed, and I suspected he was the guy that was most directly involved with Weyland-Yutani Corporation. I did not suspect his actual situation.
Yeah, I assumed that he would end up being a bad guy of sorts.
But for like the first half of the movie, I thought he just had poor judgment. I thought he was just, trying to do what was best for the corporation instead of the people, and I didn't realize, oh shit, no, he is under orders to be a fuckboy, and also,
This is only the second time I've seen this movie. So it's like, okay, I know what's up with Ash. But what I want to see, the tells, like his motive or such. So every time I see him looking at like Ripley is talking or someone, he always has this look in his eyes, just like, yeah, okay. You could clearly tell he's how do I want to say it? He's
calculating. He's trying to figure out a way to keep Ripley from exercising the caution she should be able to. He's trying to undermine her.
Correct. Well,
calculating. You making a pun, Willie?
A little bit.
I mean, yeah, because that makes sense, because if you think about his prime directive, that's why he went in and let those fuckers in the ship on the first place, when Ripley was like, no, you can't come in. You know the protocol.
Well, even before that, when it's just like, why the hell is the corporation is making us go to this planet? Why did they wake us up? And you could clearly see Ash, it just has this look in his eyes, and then he just comes up with some BS reason. It's like, he knows why he's woken up. I think it was like 10 months before they were supposed to.
I think Parker points out that, like, we're a towing ship, we're not a rescue vessel. And then he's trying to cast it off as him being, like, insubordinate and just wanting his money and get paid and all that. Like,
well, I think that's brilliant, because he just says, if you don't do this, you don't get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're dealing with a bunch of people who are essentially space truckers.
Yeah. I think space truckers are a great word for it.
And they, I'm not going to lie, I would probably be in the same boat as Parker. Like, why are we doing this? This is not what we were contracted to do. We got what we came to do. We're going home. I want to go home. If we're doing this, I better get fucking paid. And there better not be a goddamn alien on this thing.
And of course, they just say, you signed a contract, you do this, or you don't get paid.
Yeah.
They accepted the Disney Plus EULA.
Don't get me started on Disney.
No, I want to throw in something real quick. So I watched this movie on Hulu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck Hulu. I don't know why Hulu, I Googled this because I've been dealing with this for years, and it's a problem for a lot of people, and they've never fixed it. Hulu will unpause itself.
What?
So I paused Alien to go take a shit, and midway through my shit, I started hearing Alien play because I had bass turned up. And yeah, it's a thing when you're on PC, and I think it's even done it to me on TV. If you're watching something and you pause it, it'll pause for 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most, and then it'll unpause itself and keep playing.
Stupid.
Why?
I've never had it happen to me on
and it doesn't do it on your TV? It might just be a PC thing.
I've never watched it on... I don't really watch much streaming on PC, so I've never had it happen there.
But yeah, it's like it'll play itself, and then when I go to scoot back, and go back to where I was at, it'll just infinitely load, and I have to reload the browser, and then it'll kick back on. Fucking weird, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I rented this on
shitty.
Prime, so I didn't have any of that issue.
Yeah, I probably should have just yo-ho-hoed a copy, and it'd have been fine.
Yeah, I watched MKV file in VLC like a champ does.
To quote our buddy Drew, Arr.
Arr. I miss Drew.
Yeah, I watched my Blu-ray rip that I put on my Jellyfin server.
Classic. Yeah, this was a Blu-ray rip too, I think, or a UHD DVD, something like that.
Well, I actually ripped my own Blu-ray for a change.
I watched
So did
the
Willie.
video file.
I'm
Yeah, I ripped your Blu-ray too, Dane.
Thanks, Dave.
I will say
Appreciate
the
it.
We screen shared.
I love it.
the
I'll
Hulu-
I'll SRD later.
the version on Hulu was actually pretty high like resolution quality as far as like HD goes. And I was impressed that the movie seemed to hold up better than I thought it would, being able to see more than you would on a screen back when it came out. You know?
Well, but don't be silly about that, because like obviously VHS releases were pretty lo-fi, but the actual theatrical release was in like these. It was basically equivalent to high definition movies. So.
Oh no! I know that, but like at the time, that would have been the only other way to watch it once it was out of theaters was on a VHS.
Yeah.
And
Well, they still have the original film. And
Yeah.
when you're filming on real film,
Film.
I think film will actually, that they used in theatrical productions will scale up to, I think, 8K before you start actually hitting the point where you're losing resolution from it. I mean, you still have the film grain, which, depending on, if you like that sort of thing or not, could be a plus or a minus.
Still,
but
8K is better than I
Yeah,
thought it
it's
was.
really
I knew it
high
was.
resolution imaging to begin with.
Damn. Well, now I feel silly because I was lecturing him, and you're like, you're telling me the same shit from the other angle. It's like, nah, dude, it's better than you think, stupid.
yeah,
Yeah, now I'm the dipshit.
who's the maidenless now?
You're the guy that's wearing a shirt that says maidenless, therefore.
Yeah, it's me. I have a maiden.
Good old Lubriderma.
Yeah, Testicles, my right hand man. Pamela Henderson. All the
I
classics.
haven't heard that one before. I like that.
That's a
yeah.
that's a 90s
That's a good
classic,
one.
dude.
All right, so I may be the only person here. I've got some beefs with this movie.
All right, lay it on me.
All right, this movie should not have had a hero complex. This movie did
What
not
do you mean
need.
by hero complex?
So I call it a hero complex when a movie always has to have one survivor, and like they go out in a heroic way. You know what I mean? And it might have even started where this was one of the first movies to do that, so I don't judge it too harshly for it. But I feel like this movie, if it were going full horror, that thing at the end of the movie, when it was in the thing with her, when she was leaving the shuttle, they should have Ripley like, cut to an outside shot of the spaceship, maybe a splatter of blood of some sort, end. Like, the fact that little old Sigourney Weaver was able to, like, outsmart this alien thing and get it sucked out into space while she attached herself to a chair. Like, how fucking strong were those straps?
Enough.
So I mean, there's like little things like that I would think about when I'm watching it that I'm like, I don't know. Another thing, like I was talking
I
about, no one
wholly
was
disagree. I really feel like the everyone loses, everything is bad ending was already a cliche in horror movies at this time.
I don't know. I'm not very versed on 70s horror, but I don't know. I felt like it didn't need a survivor.
Also, there were two survivors. Jonesy makes it too stupid.
Well, the kitty.
Yeah.
The kitty.
The cat survived.
Had to save the cat.
You have to
That
save
cat
Joe.
should have been alien food for shock that value. It should have been rare, and then it just gets
You're
like
thinking
potato.
I
too
will
much like
say
a
that was-
Fangoria reader instead of a movie maker, man.
I will say I absolutely love that the camera zoomed in on its face when one of the guys was getting killed. It's just like,
Yeah, they cut just big old eyes like, oh shit, this dude getting hella ate.
I don't even think that. It's just,
Listeners can't see this, but as Jeff did this, he demonstrated, and all we can see is just a close-up of his eyes.
you're just a close up of my balls,
Your
The
camera.
eyes of the
Eyeballs.
nuts.
my eyeballs. Yes, that's it.
It's actually what Jeff's sitting on right now. It's like that episode of South Park. He's just sitting on his balls. A
My-
beanbag,
my-
if you will.
Tadunkey style.
So, Dane, you told us
Yo.
to watch the theatrical. What is the problem with the director's cut?
The thing with the director's cut, they add in a lot of little deleted things that they took out. I think the original cut of the film before they trimmed it down was something like 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh,
and they trimmed it down to pretty decent runtime. I think it was about,
I think it was like an hour.
just shy of 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 50
hour
something
49.
minutes. Something like that.
So a bunch of people had seen some of these deleted scenes, and I'll be honest, I can't quote those just exactly which things that they added in off the top of my head, but a couple of them. Like I know there's one where Ripley gets the piss slapped out of her by the other chick. What was it? I can't remember her name.
Hold on.
Remember.
That's it.
But I know there's a scene where she gets the piss slapped out of her that got added back in. A couple of other little things. It's just a little bit more world building, a little more information. But when Ripley Scott did the director's cut, he added these things back in, but then trimmed the movie back down. So he added like an extra 6 minutes of footage, but took away like 6 minutes and 20 seconds. So the director's cut is actually shorter than the theatrical.
And I learned something today watching a little video about it. The only reason the director's cut exists, because he still prefers the theatrical version, is because when they did the release for some, updated HD re-release or whatever, they needed something to make it special. They couldn't just upscale it and release it. They absolutely could have, by the way. Mm-hmm. People who love this movie would have bought it, but they felt like they needed to add something more, so they added a director's cut. And I was like, I guess I don't understand the Hollywood movie business, I suppose.
But I've watched the director's cut a time or two. I wasn't super impressed, and it really felt like it messed with the pacing of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's just where it's so ingrained in me because I've seen the original one so many times when I was younger.
I would say the movie is really, really tightly paced to the theatrical version.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
I felt like it spends like 45 minutes really building up before anything really terrifying happens, and then it goes to hell very quickly, and I don't see why you would want to stretch it out further than that.
And I know it's really hard to do this watching it today because so much of this franchise is just in the zeitgeist. To try and divorce yourself from the knowledge of there's 4 movies starring Sigourney Weaver titled Alien something. But when the original one came out and you don't have that context of Aliens, Alien 3, God help me, Alien Resurrection. But the way the movie kind of frames the characters, if you can forget, all right, Sigourney Weaver's in all these movies, Kane is the one that the movie kind of tells you through who it's focusing on is going to be your main guy.
So it pulls
Kane
Psycho,
being the one who,
like in Psycho, where it kills the apparent main character halfway in.
But Kane is, just in case you don't remember the names, is the one who gets the face hugger when they go to the alien planet.
John Hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once Kane is down and out, the movie shifts and starts framing Dallas, the captain,
That's true.
as that apparent. So you kind of get
Like when Dallas
the
is
head
crawling
fake
through the vents,
twice.
it feels like a he's like an action hero almost. Like you expect he's gonna pull some shit off. He's got a flamethrower. He's gonna do some shit.
And I remember watching the movie the first time. I knew he wasn't going to get the alien because it just felt like it's wrong. This doesn't feel like the kind of movie where he's going to get him. But I do remember being surprised that, like, he bet it he didn't get a second chance. He didn't get a close call. So after that, you're kind of left with, okay, well then, who are we following? Which is why I didn't feel like it was so much of a cheap shot that Sigourney Weaver does manage to survive to the end. And I know, what's it called? This movie was actually referenced in a comic for the Bechdel test. Y'all familiar with the Bechdel test?
I was about to ask. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. So the idea, and I think it was a comic strip that was centered at lesbian style humor, and not at expense, but one of the characters says, I only watch movies where the women never talk about boys or wanting to date boys or men. And the only movie that she was able to watch in theaters at the time was Alien, and she'd already seen it like 7 or 8 times or something like that.
I think the rule is there has to be a full conversation between 2 women, and at no point do they talk about a boy.
Correct.
Which is a
There you go.
surprisingly hard bar for things to clear.
And I always wondered, like, well, what made Alien special that they managed to pull that off? Because I've actually looked ever since I'd heard about that for something that fit it. The original character for Ripley was written as a man.
Huh.
And they changed it to a female character really late in development. And they were like, well, we need to rewrite this character. And Ripley Scott said, no, don't bother. The movie's fine the way it is. Mm-hmm. So Ripley's character was written as a man. They just went through and changed pronouns whenever it was pertinent.
I think it ended up working out well because they, instead of writing her as a prop, they wrote her as a character.
Yeah, imagine.
And she wasn't necessarily a damsel that needed saving either, which was
Yeah, because I mean,
even though
I
I
feel
think
like
she should have died.
I feel like Lambert really like had a lot of damsel energy. Like there was a lot of time where like she just literally freezes in front of the alien for no reason, just to fuck up one of those
Yes.
scenes.
The anger that I felt in that moment for what was the other dude's name?
Parker.
Parker. I felt for him when he's like, just bitch, get out of the way. Get out of the way so I can shoot this motherfucking thing. Like, he is holding the flamethrower. He will cook it, but he doesn't want to cook you too, and she will just not move. I understand being paralyzed in fear, but there is also fight or flight when your life is in response. And I didn't see that bitch throwing no cook kicks.
Well,
she didn't run either, so I don't know what the fuck.
It has
Now,
been
have you
described
ever
as
actually
honestly
seen
the fight,
fight or
flight,
flight
freeze
fail for somebody?
instinct.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, have you ever seen someone's fight or flight freeze up on them in real time?
I've had it happen to me, literally to me directly, when there was I was at a baseball game and a home run got hit. It was flying straight up at me, and I'm like, I probably ought to move, but that ball ain't gonna hit me, right? And it goes like 2 chairs to my left. Like, holy shit, that thing could have smashed my head in like a fucking Gallagher watermelon.
Now,
Sometimes freeze
we're
just
famous for our
happens.
tangents already. I actually watched somebody's fight or flight freeze up on them, and I've got video of it. I can send it to y'all later. My buddy Chris, me and my best friend hid in his apartment dressed like ninjas. His girlfriend let us in because she was a very loving and caring person.
She's just
and we
really into
waited
ninjas.
So this was the day that I came out of the closet because I hid in his closet, and
Good for you.
my other buddy was hiding under a pile of dirty clothes that was perpetually at the foot of their bed. And we waited in there for like 45 minutes for him to get home from work. He comes home and apparently does his normal ritual of taking off his pants at the door. She sends him into the bedroom to change for dinner, and he's like, what the fuck? And as he walks in, holding his dick in his hand, we hit play on a CD player in the corner, which starts blaring the Mortal Kombat theme song. As she slams the door to cue us, we hit the play button, and then I jump out, and on the video where I recorded it, you can see one leg kind of jimmy up like I need to run away, and his other hand's wanting to come up to fight, but his dick's in it. So he settles for, ah! So I'm standing there, and he's like, holy shit, it's a ninja. I'm like, holy shit, there's your dick.
Dick versus ninja,
So-
final battle, fight.
And I'm gonna send this episode to him because I don't think he's listened to us yet, and I know he's gonna love me telling this story on him. I pick him up because him's a little fella, and I dive off. And as I dive off screen with him, the other guy, Brandon, comes up from the clothes and gets dick flopping right in his face as we go. So we're off screen, and all you can see is Chris's feet kicking, screaming, "Oh fuck! Who the fuck? What the fuck?" And it sounds. And here's my segue back into the show. It sounds like sexual assault. And the reason that's a segue is everything about this movie's monster was designed around that theme.
Yeah, I would say
How heavy did it come through for you?
the strange thing is, like, I knew that this film was very psychosexual because all of H.R. Giger's designs are in general. And, like, the concept of, like, an unwanted pregnancy is basically, like, one of the chief themes of this. I still think that, like, it ended up being more, like, traditional horror movie scares rather than deep psychological scares to me.
To me, it was like I got the feeling with the whole laying the egg inside of somebody, the mother beast, and all. But I wouldn't have gone as far as to say that that was the whole, kit and caboodle behind the scenes. But that's interesting to know.
Mm-hmm.
When they were designing the monster, they actually said, we want men to fear rape the way women fear rape. And it wasn't necessarily in those exact words, but those were the things that they were talking about.
And it makes sense, too,
Because
because
when you-
H.R. Giger's other works, like the designs he did for the game Dark Seed, like, a very, very similar thing is done in that game. Where, like, the H.R. Giger alien puts, tears a horrible vertical slit in the main character's head and puts some kind of thing into it.
And
'Cause-
brutal.
Like, you look at the face hugger, and you see the inside of the, I guess you could call it the palm of the spider of it, looks like a vagina, which forcibly sends something down your throat and impregnates you. And the guy that it gets is a male crew member. Very shortly after, the child of it violently rips through his chest, kills him in the process, which, a fun fact about that, when they set that set up, they put real animal viscera into the rig and were ejecting that with, I think they actually used pig's blood. So when Lambert's freaking out because it gets in her face, it's because they didn't tell him how much is going to pop out. They just told him, it's going to pop out and, it's going to squirt a little bit of blood, but, don't worry about it. And very much whole lot of that. So genuine fear reaction on her.
Yeah, my understanding of that scene, and this may be film urban legend stuff, but was that they basically didn't tell them what was going to happen, only that something bad was going to happen with John Hurt's character, and to be prepared to react. So a lot of the reactions that they captured ended up being, like, genuine terror.
Well, they did have to do it in 2 takes.
It is
I know the urban legend says it was one.
Retrospective, there are 2 takes, yes.
Yeah. The first take, the alien didn't actually make it all the way through the shirt.
Oh.
The shirt didn't rip. So, and part of that is still in the theatrical cut. So, the first one, like, there was a bunch of blood that splattered up, and he was inside the table, and they had a mechanical body that was convulsing and all that stuff. So, they knew something was up. They didn't give them full amount of details on the specifics of it, but they did have to do a reset. And the second one was when the shirt actually ripped and the stuff came out. So they got in 2.
Okay, that makes sense.
And apparently the dude that played Kane reeked for hours off of set because the stuff was very rapidly decomposing. And same deal with the actual dissection scene with the facehugger, because the facehugger was made out of shellfish.
Oh, it totally looks like it has
kidneys.
like crab legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The entrails and stuff on it were like oysters and shit.
Oh.
Yeah, I did think, I was like, that looks like some oysters. I did have that thought. So that's awesome to know that I was correct. My fat ass knew food when I saw it.
But the things that I found interesting with this kind of theme that they had going, that I found these little details out. So we know the xenomorph looks very, very phallic. The extra set of jaws that comes out is a penetration thing. I mean, its head's a giant dick.
Yeah, there's even like a scene where like you see just the shadow of its head. It's like, okay, that's a wiener, dude.
But the real fun fact, the tendons on the sides of its mouth, the prop designers, when they were making it, made that out of shredded condoms.
Huh.
And the slime that drips off of it all the time was done with KY jelly.
It does seem very like a thick lubricant, yeah.
Yeah, I figured it was either some of that or some Astroglide.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I also thought maybe it was aloe, because I know aloe has a viscosity that's pretty thick and would look like that if you watered it down a little bit.
I wonder how that would handle up under studio lights, though.
Probably not great.
Probably not. I mean, if you said it was very hot in there, it probably wouldn't have done well.
I mean, it would keep you from burning.
I mean, like, even
but
like,
just all of the
sequences where you just see a bunch of wet stuff, you know something is about to go down, because everything gets very slimy and wet and nasty the moment shit's about to happen, you know?
It's a specific scene, and I don't want to cut too far ahead, Dane, so I apologize if I do. But
you're good.
The scene where the reveal is starting to happen with Ash.
Yeah.
Where Ripley's at the computer, she reads the thing. Well, I'll let you get into that because I'm stoned and I have no memory of what it actually said, but I just remember it was fucked up. And anyway, but the scene where they're face to face and Ash is looking at her and that little white shit starts leaking down his head.
Yeah.
I was like, is the alien above him drooling
that's what
on
I
him?
thought too. Yeah, I took the wrong
like, what?
original first impression, but it was something different and weird. It was a really interesting twist I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
Well, we can go ahead and spoil that if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Come to find out, Ash, the science officer, is secretly an android.
Yeah, that's some kind of pneumatic fluid within him.
And boy, the way you find that out. LOL.
Oh, yeah, because his head just completely gets...
One swift swing of a fire extinguisher makes this entire head prop. So that's the only time in the movie that I noticed a hard cut. Because it is very clearly goes from a human So he swings that to it cuts to behind him where it is very much not the same person, and then it's the mechanical head that gets knocked off.
But it's a very The Thing-esque, like, practical effect. Like, it's very just wet and graphic and nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were definitely banking on just the shock of the moment on a first watch to be like, whoa, what the fuck just happened? But yeah, the deal with Ash's parts whenever he is not currently active, that is definitely a spot where the effects do not hold up. It's one of the two spots in the movie that still jump out at me.
Yeah, and I think if I may, I think the other spot that you're talking about is the other one that I'm thinking of, and that's when they actually get his body onto the table, and it's like this plastic or molded face that looks kind of like him, and then they cut back to Ripley, or the cut where they're like doing the tss to turn him on, and they get him turned on, and they go back to him, and it is very clearly now him with his head through the table, like,
Yeah,
What
that
do
one,
you
Yeah,
want?
gargling milk.
that did not quite work for me either. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, the heat of the studio definitely degraded the head prop. I don't know how good it could have been to begin with, to be perfectly honest, but
Again,
it was warping out of shape by the time that they were filming with it.
And I kept trying to tell myself, remember the time that this came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was a much, we didn't have the effects and shit that we have now, so they couldn't probably have gone in and done much more to that digitally than they already had done.
Well, one thing.
So I tried to remember that.
One thing I was trying to figure out is they knock his head off, or even before that, you see there's some sort of white liquid escaping his body. Earlier in the movie, when they're gathered around a table, you see him drinking white liquid. Is that the same liquid, or is he like drinking milk, or what?
I know that in the movie it's assumed to be milk that he's drinking, but that's the only thing that I ever saw him actually consume in it.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered, this is the only thing that his body is equipped to process so he can try and pretend to be eating something, or is milk actually involved, or is he faking them out and he's drinking something that's some kind of fluid for him?
Well,
I
you would
never actually
I don't
thought
think
about it
that's
that
ever
much.
actually addressed.
Well, you would
That's really
think it's one of those things of like, only I can drink this. It's like, well, why can't only you drink this? If it's like, say, it's a pneumatic liquid or something.
So with the scene when he gets his head knocked off, I will say my mind didn't immediately jump to Cyborg. Like when they knocked his head off and it was spraying the white stuff, where I guess it was cords that were doing this. I saw some like tentacle looking things. I thought he had been taken over by an alien, a
he was
different
being
kind of alien
puppeteered.
in there. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I think Parker's like, he's a fucking cyborg or whatever. And I was like, oh, or he's a robot, he's a goddamn robot.
Yeah, goddamn robot.
And I was like, oh, okay, well that works too. But
yeah, no,
but
I actually,
was like,
that was my first instinct too, is I thought he had been, like, he was being puppeteered by some creature that, like, did something, like, you know how, like, the face hugger gets in and, like, over-positions your digestive system. I just figured there was some reverse thing that hit you in the back of the head, maybe, and that's what had been controlling Ash, and maybe it had been doing for a longer time. And then Parker, of course, points out to this robot. I'm like, oh, that's just a really wet robot.
Yeah. But the what causes all of that is that Ripley sits down at that computer and she reads the Prime narrative. And
Capture,
isn't it something?
capture creature, all objectives are like all objectives
All
are
previous
rescinded.
objectives, secondary, crew expendable.
expendable.
Crew expendable.
So that's where you find out that they're being paid by the SCP Foundation to go and get this. I mean, they're like, it doesn't matter. Crew redacted. They get rid of them.
Yeah, all of a sudden we realize Wayland Yutani isn't just interested in, like, or they are fucking horrible, whatever the fuck it is, like horrible mega corporation.
Well, of course they're a mega corporation. This is set in the same universe as Blade Runner.
Yeah, but we don't know that yet.
Ripley Scott said that he, when he was designing the stuff for the two movies, he kind of imagined them going together. So it's unofficially part of the same universe. Different studios own different things, so they can't actually do
Right.
it. But
I mean, they're
yeah,
based on different scripts too. I mean, considering, Blade Runner's based on Dick, whereas this show just has a lot of things that look like Dick.
yeah, either way, a lot of dick going around.
Plenty of Dick to give.
A lot of deep penetration.
That is very true.
Makes you think at the beginning of Reservoir Dogs is she was just all about the dick, just dick, 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 dick. And the guy goes, how many dicks is that? And the other guy's like, a lot.
And now I'm jumping to Clerks. 37 dicks.
In a row?
In a row? Not every girl brings you lasagna. Some of them just cheat on you. Oh man, Clerks, good stuff, dude.
Never seen Clerks.
It's a fun movie.
You've not seen?
I've never seen Clerks.
I would say out of all of the Kevin Smith movies to watch, either Clerks or Dogma is probably the one that holds up best, even if you don't have a nostalgia for it.
I've seen Dogma, but only on Comedy Central. So I think Dalton. I remember you and Jeremy were talking Dogma, and you were talking about like the shit monster and all these other things. I'm like, I don't remember all this, but then again, I saw it on Comedy Central.
For years, I had only seen the Comedy Central one. When I watched Dogma and all of a sudden there's a shit monster, the Golgotha, I was like, what the fuck is this? I had no idea because they cut that entire part out.
Well, I can't imagine it's pretty TV friendly.
But I mean, even when I used to watch it on the Secret Stash when they would play the unedited movies at night, I think they started that to play Kevin Smith movies and stuff unedited. But yeah, no, none of that. Clerks and Clerks 2. I haven't seen Clerks 3. I've heard it's a big jerk off, but Clerks 1 and 2 are fantastic.
Super masturbatory even for Kevin Smith.
Well, Jay and Silent Bob 2 was a big jerk off too, and I thought it had some moments.
I did love Jay and Silent Bob too.
Like it kind of like, even though I'm not a dad, the family like stuff really kind of brought a tear to my eye. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm a big lame loser, weepy.
A lot of that movie was like about Jay becoming a father after he got sober, basically.
Yeah.
And how good there was all the prey to that. And then Clerks 3, I think, was all just one big Kevin Smith, like, hey, I had a heart attack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can really see, because jokes that he told from the heart attack story become plot lines for Clerks 3. I enjoyed it, but it's tonally inconsistent.
And I'm pretty mid on Kevin Smith too. Like, he's not one of those guys I'm fully sick of. Like, he's not like Joss Whedon level of, okay, your shit's fucking toast to me. But he is one of those dudes that's like, I definitely need to be in a specific mood for him.
I was really into him for a while, and then after he had his heart attack, and then recently when he became a vegan and quit smoking weed and all of that, I kind of just like, I don't relate to him anymore, because now he just kind of seems like he sniffs his own farts.
Yeah, he seems
and that bums me out.
Uppity, full of himself.
Yeah.
He got skinny and Jay got off heroin, and
they grew up, damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's fast approaching the like Pauly Shore line, where, you know, remember how everybody was just all about Pauly Shore, and then it's just all of a sudden overnight, fuck Pauly Shore.
No. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't remember Pauly Shore. I always remember his fandom being entirely ironic.
The only thing everyone was just like, oh man, this guy is great. And then years later, it's just like, that was Tom Green. Everyone was like, oh, Tom Green. And then it's just like, who cares about Tom Green?
The best thing that Pauly Shore was ever in was a Goofy movie.
Okay, I mean, I have nothing bad to say about
he's the buddy with the cheese fixation,
yeah,
right?
Leaning Tower of Cheese. Like, that's the only thing that I've never seen Biodome. I've never seen Encino Man. I've never seen any of those movies.
I have heard spirited defenses of Biodome. Apparently, it is funny if you're willing to get really stupid with it.
Isn't that most movies?
Yeah, if you don't overthink it, it's a fun movie.
Isn't that most movies of the 90s?
I think
that's most movie now. If you don't think about it, you can enjoy it.
Well, yeah, man, I'm talking basically Waterboy levels. You know what I mean? It's not a terrible movie. You just have to be ready to be stupid.
Speaking of Waterboy, I just saw a thing where MJF, the wrestler, got cast to be in Waterboy 2. Happy Gilmore 2. Happy Gilmore 2. So Adam Sandler's making a second Happy Gilmore
or something?
He's dipping back in that well.
I guess so.
You guys didn't know they were making a second Happy Gilmore?
No. I just learned of this. Yeah, I just learned
I saw this like a month or two ago, and I'm just like, really? Why?
I mean, MJF
I hope he brings back Shooter.
Yeah, if he plays like a Shooter McGavin type character,
Shooter is coming
awesome.
back. I think a lot of the original cast is coming back. Obviously, Bob Barker can't due to logistical reasons.
You don't know. Maybe they got a necromancer.
Dude, imagine
logistical reasons.
If they get Drew Carey to be his celebrity.
The price is still wrong, bitch.
Oh, now that would be great.
That would be fantastic.
So here's the scene. Happy Gilmore's driving by a graveyard, and he just stops. And he gets out, and he walks over. He's got some flowers, and he walks over to a grave that says Bob Barker. And he lays the flowers down, and he gets on his hands and knees and leans down and just says, "The price is wrong, bitch." And then he just gets a swift kick in the face, and it's Drew Carey out of nowhere. And they just start fighting like the chicken and fucking Peter from Family Guy. and have a 5-minute like martial arts scene with Drew Carey and Adam Sandler going at it.
This isn't Seth MacFarlane. He gets a swift kick from Drew Carey and he just walks away. It's just like, is that Drew Carey? What?
Maybe knock him out and leave him laying, and then just like fixes his suit and walks away.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that.
Keep it simple.
Oh, I think that we just came up with something that's going to be way funnier than whatever the movie.
Yes. That movie's probably gonna be terrible. Will I watch it? Probably.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not really a huge fan of Adam Sandler anymore, because now
Well, he has been on an upswing lately.
Yes.
Well, only because after you do Grown Ups 2, anything you do is an upswing.
After the Ridiculous Six, after fucking Jack and Jill.
That was the one, Jack and Jill.
Actually,
I was gonna say, that's the one that I refuse to watch. I've heard so many bad things about it. I'm like, no, I don't want to taint my love of Adam Sandler.
I don't want to love my taints of Adam Sandler.
I saw Grown Ups 2 in theaters, and when I
Why?
when I walked out of the theaters, I'm just like, what the hell did I just watch? That movie accomplished nothing. There was no purpose. There was no theme. I literally was just like, what the hell what just happened?
I've tried to watch that movie like 4 times, and every time I fade out. I'm just like, whatever.
It's such a nothing movie.
Yeah.
I can't even say it's bad. It's nothing.
Even the jokes are like nothing. They're just like, they're like all placeholders.
Some of my favorite Sandler movies are actually not even like his strong comedy stuff. I know Click's considered a comedy, but Click made me cry. Click's got a very heart-wrenching scene at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite Sandler movies is Spanglish.
I fucking love Spanglish.
That is
that movie didn't click for me.
Movie.
Well, you're
son of a bitch.
You're heartless, you prick.
How dare you?
But now I liked it better than Punch Drunk Glove, which I think was his first attempt at being dramatic. But like, I really got into was it Rain on Me? That one where he had lost his family in 9/11.
Funny People.
Oh.
Was it Funny People?
Was that Funny People? No.
I know what movie you're talking about.
That was the one he did with Seth Rogen, I want to say.
It was like Rain on Me, Rain Over Me, something like that.
Is it either Rain on Me or Rain Over Me? But that was the one where I was like, okay, that one really got to me. But yeah,
no, it's.
I really tried on Spanglish. It didn't click for me.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure it out. The one I was thinking of, he has like leukemia or something. All right, hold on. Keep
that's
talking.
I'm
gonna.
Well, while you're looking for that, I can tell you another movie that was like that time era of Spanglish that was like a movie that I watched that I probably shouldn't have liked at my age, but for some reason I really enjoyed it, was Something's Gotta Give. Anybody? Jack Nicholson, Diane Keaton?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, I beat off to that movie once because you get to see Diane Keaton's titties, and they were nice, so I paused it and whacked one out as a kid to Diane Keaton. So if you're ever listening, Diane, I appreciate you.
Wait, were you talking about Something's Gotta Give?
Wait.
Yeah.
Great movie. You were right. It's a right.
Don't you see Kathy Bates' tits in that movie too?
No, that is.
Or am I thinking of a different one?
Movie.
I think that's a different movie.
You're thinking of 101 Dalmatians.
You are thinking of Rain Over Me. That's the Adam Sandler movie.
Okay.
I'm just saying random shit now because I am out of my element now.
It's just weird, odd year comedies.
Man,
like
I'm from a
romantic
video
comedies.
game podcast. All this film shit.
Yeah, right. I don't read art. Are you kidding me?
Well, Willie, I do recommend Something's Gotta Give. Jack Nicholson, Diane Keaton. It's a fantastic movie. You know, they're both really good actors, so it's a really good movie.
Keanu Reeves in it too. He's great.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always feel like Keanu Reeves, he used to get like kind of a bad rap because he's really understated in his acting, but I do think that like the understatedness is actually part of it rather than just him not acting, you know?
I think people were angry at him because he did Matrix 2 and 3.
Well, because they were bad.
And then he came out and did John Wick, and everybody's like,
yeah, right on that knob. All of a sudden, yeah, Keanu Reeves, and deservedly so. I haven't even seen it, but like the reputation precedes John Wick.
I can't wait to see what his next big thing is, where he references something from John Wick, because Matrix he had the Bill and Ted whoa moment.
Yeah.
In John Wick he has the lots of guns moment.
Oh yeah.
So he's got callbacks to his like big things. I can't wait to see what they call back to with John Wick.
He's going to be in 106
dog.
Dalmatians. They're going to kill all of his dogs.
Yep, it's dogs.
I'd like to see him reference Cyberpunk as well, because he's a pretty major character in Cyberpunk.
Was it Johnny Silverhands?
Yeah, Johnny Silverhand. Yeah. He's a bad motherfucker.
That's the villain or the group of werewolf hunters in Skyrim, right? Is it the
Yes.
Silver Hand? Yeah.
The silver hand. Yeah, I kill them when I see them because they're bastards.
Well, I do too. In wolf form.
Yes.
In wolf pog form.
And wolf paw.
This is a good
So do we
alien
wanna-
podcast.
I was gonna say, do we want to dive
Yeah,
right
we
back
are
to
way
Alien?
off the rails.
Guys,
We're talking about
this,
aliens
I love
and
going
guys,
off the rails with
the
you guys.
show is called Media Dump for a reason.
Yeah, I misunderstood. I was about 20 minutes late to the episode.
Taking a big.
We're going to start calling the Tangent Cleveland Steamers.
If you ask me, the show should have been called Media Dump.
Yeah.
Aww.
Just kidding. I like it. It's good.
So I got a question for y'all.
Yo.
I have an answer.
And we can dive back into the movie at large, but I think we're far enough into it we can do this. I issued a challenge for all y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I posit that there are 2 fourth wall breaks in this movie. Who thinks that they found them?
I know I found one.
I know
I looked for
I know
shit,
Jeff
and I didn't see
didn't find anything, Dalton?
No.
What about you, Willie? Did you notice anything that you think would constitute a fourth wall break?
I think it's when Sigourney Weaver looks at the camera and goes, "Well, that just happened."
Play me out, Johnny.
No, I got nothing.
All right, Jeff, what'd you find?
All right,
I want to see if you
so-
found the ones I'm thinking
So
of.
the obvious one, well, obvious to me, was right after Sigourney Weaver discovers that Ash is not so much a robot, but he's definitely trying to prevent her from killing the alien and starts attacking her. All of a sudden, the camera zooms in on his face, does like a little walk around him, and then all of a sudden, you hear the cameraman walk into the wind chimes that's dangling in the command center of the Nostromo, and you see Ash turn, quickly snap, and look at the cameraman.
And then he cuts back.
And it cuts back, and then you see, then he chucks Sigourney Weaver. But there is one brief moment where the cameraman hits the wind chimes, and he's just like, yeah. The other one, I'm not sure if this is a fourth wall break, but I saw it. I'm just like, that is way too intentional. It's when the alien plays peekaboo with the camera. In this one, it's when the captain, Dallas, is in the air vents walking around. He's like, they're hearing him, "Get out of there! He's right there! Go, go!" You see him, like it was a flashlight or the fire, whatever, turns to the alien, and he's already like, he's already like, yeah. It's just like, okay, that seems very intentional.
Yeah, so viewers, you can't, or listeners, you can't
yeah,
see it.
I'm
But Jeff
sorry.
just like threw his hands up, like, "I'm gonna get you," and yeah, I got very
I'm gonna
big,
get you, my
"I'm gonna
pretty."
get ya vibes out of it.
Yeah, it's just like, that seems way too deliberate.
It was silly. That was kind of silly. Yeah, that scare didn't get me how it was supposed to, I think.
So I'll actually touch on that one in a minute, but you actually skipped back to the fun reveal, which was that scene that you talked about with the alien playing peekaboo was the one that my wife, when me and her were watching this together recently for the show, I had her looking for it. She's like, "That's got to be one of those fourth wall breaks you were talking about." And I said, "What makes you say it's fourth wall break?" She's like, "He was right there expecting the camera to turn to him, and then the camera filled with static, like they were watching it on a display, but they were watching little dots on a motion detector. They couldn't see that shit."
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on. And I rewound it, and I'm like, yes, they actually went in and post and added like staticky scramble effects to the camera. So that was the secret third possible fourth wall break.
Yes.
So you get 3 and a 4th. Congratulations.
So, talking about the wind chime scene a bit, I've actually heard people argue that that was an accident. It was a dumb cameraman who didn't know what he was doing and accidentally bumped into it, and they forgot to cut it out of the movie. Here are my problems with that hypothesis. They added in the Foley for the wind chimes.
Yeah, that's a pretty big freaking issue, isn't it?
The very next scene, as Jeff said, he then, after he snaps and looks at the wind chimes and comes back, he throws Sigourney Weaver into that alcove with the wind chimes. And the next cut is Ash's face framed by these still dangling wind chimes.
Yeah.
They're drawing extra attention to it.
I didn't catch that the
And the
cameraman
third-
hit it, but I did catch the wind chimes hanging over Ash's face in the third of those. Why am I doing the John Cena "you can't see me" gesture?
Well, the listeners can't see you.
Oh, fuck you,
But-
Jeff.
Oh, I love it.
This is a good show. I'm having a great time.
The third problem with it was a mistake and it was a dumb cameraman who wasn't very good at his job argument is every handheld camera shot for this entire film, the man holding the camera was Ridley fucking Scott.
Incompetent, fool, amateur.
What a moron!
So,
Tremendous.
Also, I'd like to congratulate you for calling him Ridley Scott, because you've been saying Ripley Scott over and over again, and I've been biting my
have
tongue
I said
on
Ripley
it.
Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time.
I drink a lot, Willie. And you want to get technical? It's Sir Ridley Scott because the motherfucker's a knight. So
Yes, and
You got
I'm
knighted, that's
American
cool.
and do not have to
Yeah.
respect foreign titles.
I did not know
So-
he was British.
He doesn't look Jewish.
do you have to be British to be a knight?
I think
You
so.
have to be a member. You don't have to be British, but you have to be in the British Commonwealth. You have to be a subject of the king. So if he's Canadian, for instance, that would be good as well. Or
Or he
Australian.
could be an expat?
As long as he's a subject of the king. Or queen at the
I don't
time,
know the
I'm sure.
rules on it. So, what do you think is actually added by the wind chime thing? Have y'all got any ideas?
It reminds me that the wind is beautiful and I love going outside.
Well, it is weird because why have them? But you can clearly see
Yeah.
there's air moving around. I mean, there's multiple moments you see. It's like as the camera pans, it like focuses
think-
on a book or papers, and the papers are blowing in the wind. So like, what?
Do you think maybe that's to draw attention to the fact that the alien moves through the air vents?
Well, they had already established that because Dallas is already dead at this point.
But
Right,
no,
yeah,
no,
but I
but
mean,
like
it's just a
right,
reminder
the
of
very start of the movie, before everyone wakes up, the camera is panning or just traveling through the ship, and you see just a pile of papers, and they're just constantly blowing up in the wind.
But then wouldn't the
So-
chimes be constantly chiming?
You would think. So, what my overanalyzing ideas on it, the fact that the camera hits the wind chimes as the cameraman, Ridley Scott's backing through, I think the subtle implication there is the idea of, there's nothing in universe that could do that. So it's kind of a what could have done it except the viewer. So that is the like overthinking it, overanalyzing it idea. But then the next scene, as Ash is trying to choke Ripley. See, now Will's got me overthinking. I'm like, which was it? Was it Ripley or Ridley? As he's strangling her, he grabs the papers and rolls up and starts trying to cram it down her throat. This is very clearly an assault thing.
Yeah, I
They
thought
are
that's
enacting.
also why I thought that it was an alien, because I thought it was trying to emulate the oviposition attack that the facehugger did. That's one of the reasons I
So-
thought it was being puppeteered by an alien instead of being a robot trying to do something rational.
So what if it is a case of he's aware that someone's watching and powerless to stop him, and this is like a power thing?
Oh, so he's just getting off
'Cause
from
that's-
the fact that he's like doing an ineffective but terrifying thing to her?
Yeah.
That's mean.
I mean, overthinking it. I'm admitting this. It's overthinking it, but maybe an idea behind it.
I think
And-
this
and-
murderous android is rude.
And so the white liquid is his jizz.
You
Exactly.
forget that forehead jizz and just really, oh.
It's a problem. I need to see a doctor about it.
Makes me think of Scary Movie 3 when Leslie Nielsen, the alien pees out of his finger. He's like, oh, I see we have something in common. And just starts pissing out of his finger.
Dude, Leslie Nielsen was in that movie for like 3 minutes, and he absolutely deserved every penny he made for it.
Yeah.
What would President Ford do? Looks at a picture of Harrison Ford from Air Force One.
Tremendous.
I just watched Naked Gun, the second
Nice.
one, which I think is actually the worst one of the three. The first one is just brilliant, but it's just like Leslie Nielsen was just a treasure. What a treat!
Which is I think it's one of the Naked Gun movies where he asks the dude for some information, and the guy's like, I don't know, maybe you should pay. And he gives him some money. He gives him like $20. It's in the first one.
It's the first one.
And then he's like, and then the guy starts asking him questions. He's like, I don't know, maybe you should pay me, and I'll tell you. And the guy gives him the $20 back.
It's like I don't know if I should. Can you spot me a 20? How about here you go? How about now? All right.
I think one of my favorite
Awesome.
all-time Leslie
That's such a
Nielsen
good
gags is definitely he's broken into the office of some kind of like mob boss or whatever, and the guy's like, "Who are you? And how'd you get in here?" "I'm a locksmith, and I'm a locksmith."
I know there was a whole, I think it was just one episode of WWE Raw, where the whole thread is that Leslie Nielsen was there and he was searching for The Undertaker.
Yes.
So like they would just cuts to him backstage, and he would be doing bits and stuff, just walking around looking for Undertaker. It was tremendous.
It was really funny.
Shout out to Leslie Nielsen.
This movie would have been better with Leslie Nielsen. Probably not.
Oh my god, Alien with Leslie Nielsen. But he's the alien.
He is the alien.
The saddest thing in the world to me is, like, we were talking about freaking Spaceballs earlier. You'd think that Mel Brookes and Leslie Nielsen together would be the funniest movie ever made, and I thought Dracula Dead and Loving It was super weak.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Maybe I need to go rewatch it. I didn't see it since I was like 14, but I really it let me down really hard.
I remember enjoying it, but even then I felt like, this isn't the best of his stuff.
Well, certainly not the best.
On
I
both
mean,
ends.
I Young Frankenstein, I think is his best work.
I think that's a very defensible argument.
My dad loves that movie. Anytime it's on TV, like I'll say this, at least once a week, I walk into my living room and my dad is watching Young Frankenstein.
The first time I watched this, actually the same thing. I think that's my dad's favorite Mel Brooks movie, and it was right after they tried to resurrect the monster, and it's just nothing works. So it's just one of those things of we have to accept our failures with quiet dignity and grace. You son of a bitch bastard! Why won't you live? I was in tears, and here I am. I think about like 8 years old. I'm in tears from laughing too hard. I think
It's a great scene.
I just definitely maxed my audacity. Or was it clipped?
I love that movie, but I'm still partial to Blazing Saddles.
I also think that's a very defensible choice. I think basically every Mel Brooks movie except probably Robin Hood and Dracula are a pretty good argument for his
You
best
shut
movie.
your
Don't
whore
you
mouth
son of a
about
bitch.
Robin
Yeah, don't
Hood.
you dare talk
Oh, no,
about
I'm not
Robin
saying
Hood
it's
in tights.
bad. I'm just saying it's not a top 3.
You son of a bitch, I'll kill you.
I would put it in my top 3, but that's just me.
You really
I
think
I
it's
love
better
how
than
everyone
Spaceballs?
instantly turned on Willie.
You think it's better than Spaceballs?
Spaceballs is number 1 on my
You
list.
think it's better than Blazing Saddles?
I haven't seen Blazing Saddles in probably 20 years, so I don't know.
The Producers?
I've never seen The Producers.
Young Frankenstein?
Young Frankenstein is probably 2 or 3 on my list. So
All right,
it's
so
right there.
you're already 50-50 of putting it in your top 3.
It's in my top 3. Yeah.
No, because you said there's a chance that you think Producers is better.
No, Producers is not better.
Not Producers.
I said that there's a chance that
Blazing
Young
Saddles.
Frankenstein is better,
Frankenstein is,
which would make it go 2 and 3. Spaceballs and then those.
Whatever.
Math.
Spaceballs is great.
So good.
Wait,
I love
wait,
it.
no,
Remember
Blazing
when we
Saddles. You
found
forgot
shit?
fucking Blazing Saddles, dude.
Yeah, I know. I said I haven't seen it in like 20 years, so I couldn't rank it.
It's better, though. It is better.
I don't know. Funny movie, but I don't think it's the best.
It is definitely the one that you have to explain the most if you're showing it to someone for the first time in 2024. That's for damn sure.
This came out a long time ago. Just keep that in mind.
Keep in mind that he had the good intentions and was making fun of people and didn't realize that these fucking people would still be around.
Yeah, right?
Sorry to bring a sad note, but it's gonna be
Also,
a very hard day when Mel Brooks dies.
He's still kicking, though. Also, History of the World Part 1 is his best movie.
Oh, see, I've never seen those.
I've never seen it completely.
1 and 2, I need to watch
Very
them.
good.
I've seen them. I still put, for me, it's top 3, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Robin Hood. I really, really enjoy Robin Hood still to this day.
I cannot put Robin Hood above History of the World Part 1. Just impossible for me.
Robin Hood's
Still,
great.
the fact that there's an argument there means he's an incredibly talented comic director and writer.
And I do think that The Producers is probably the most intelligent joke he ever did.
It's kind of like Clerks, where you start off with a smart movie and then you do really stupid shit afterwards.
But the whole idea behind that was, how do we take away the power that the Nazis had and, make them the butt of the fucking joke?
Don't be stupid,
So-
be a smarty, come and join the Nazi party.
Gay him up. I think that was the joke, right?
We will never be able to monetize this episode on YouTube. We've said Nazi and rape way too many times already.
I mean, you said it like 90% of them.
Well, let me go ahead and just add suicide to that.
Actually, that is a misconception. That is TikTok that blocks people over suicide.
That's a TikTok thing.
YouTube has no problem with it. They just put the little, "Are you feeling down?"
Yeah, they
link.
do.
YouTube. No, I won't say that. They'll probably block us like they've been blocking you for some reason, Dalton.
You were going to tell YouTube to unalive themselves?
No, I was going to say, I could actually completely forget what I was going to say. Oh, YouTube. They support suicide.
Here, let's go for the trifecta.
Coronavirus.
MAGA. We're going to build a wall. It's the big wall, the best wall.
We're gonna make the alien species pay for it. The xenomorphs, they're
I
coming
thought
in.
that-
The xenomorphs are eating the cats and dogs.
No, you got that completely backwards. Because
No,
the
it was
xenomorphs
Gordon
are
Shumway.
actually dangerous. So he'd be like, xenomorphs. I talked to them. They're the best guys I've ever talked to. I love the
That's right.
xenomorphs.
Love the xenomorphs. Yeah, we had lunch the other day.
Oh man.
They're apparently also fans of sucking face. I also love sucking face. All right, I'm done.
Something Sigourney grabbed the pussy. I don't know.
Wow, that was
Sigourney Weaver. We'll bring it back to Alien with talking about pussies. So there was a production delay in this movie.
I know this
production
story.
delay.
If I think it, I know
okay.
you're gonna go with.
Yeah.
And there's the scene at the end of the movie where she takes all her clothes off. She's down there like her panties and like a little shirt. You can see some nippage. And the V, everyone loves a good V, right? Turns out, apparently, she had some woolly warts sticking out. Not warts. I shouldn't use that word when you're talking about a genital area. She just had a lot of woolliness
So much herpes. No.
hanging out, just hair hanging out everywhere.
We'll say all that other shit. I will not talk bad about Sigourney Weaver. She deserves to be talked about precisely as the great actor she is.
She's a treat. She's
Fucking
fantastic.
treasure.
Except
I will
Anyway,
not slander. I will not be on a show where we slander Sigourney Weaver. That's all I'm saying.
except Avatar. Avatar sucks.
Well, fucking Avatar. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, but that's not her fault.
True.
So anyway, she had a huge beaver bush, right?
Yeah.
And refused to shave it. And so they had to go in and edit it out in post because it just looked unseemly.
They literally
And,
airbrushed every frame of it, and it cost like thousands and thousands of man hours. And all I'm thinking here is, like, when I hear that phrase, all I think is the Soviets would have given her bigger panties.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was wondering why didn't they just throw her in a pair of like granny panties or something? Like, why she got to be in a little skimpy thing? You're in space.
Why didn't they just Cesar Romero it? Because he wouldn't shave his fucking
You're right.
mustache to play the fucking Joker.
Just paint her bush over. We got some peach paint.
I mean, it would have looked better than the prosthetic ash head.
Damn.
But yeah, that has always been a thing that I knew that just cracks me up.
This is actually my first time seeing those scenes, and I was like, huh. I can't see it, but I'm looking very closely just to,
I mean, it's a great scene, but at the same time, it's like you portrayed this woman to be very intelligent, very knowledgeable, pretty badass. Hey, man, let's make her sexy.
I'm just saying she did have some, like, really, like, fantastic lower abs and shit. Like, she looked strong. She looked dangerous. My webcam has died
We gotta
again.
be fit to go to space.
That's true. That's true. Also, for a long time, I don't know if this is still true, but every male astronaut that had been in space was an Eagle Scout.
Huh, that actually makes sense to me.
Fun fact. Like I said, don't know if that's still true because it's been a long time since I was in Boy Scouts. But when I was in Boy Scouts, that was one of the big selling points was that every astronaut that's a male has been through Boy Scouts and gotten their Eagle Scout.
Maybe if they had brought that up, I would actually stuck with Boy Scouts.
Man, the only reason I stuck with it as long as I did is because I had the most dysfunctional troop ever, and we were great.
Yeah, you've told some really interesting stories from your scouting days.
Yes, sir. So, all in all, I have a question. Do you still think that this movie should be categorized as a horror movie? Because I almost think it's more of a thriller, personally.
I think it constitutes a horror movie, but to me, like, horror is such a broad kind of subject. Because I always thought about it as, put a slasher movie in space.
Yeah.
Which that analogy doesn't really work as well because the heyday of slasher movies was during the AIDS scare, and that's what they really were, was an AIDS analogy.
That's interesting. It's something we should bring
Jason
up
X,
in
Jason
future.
in space.
What's that, Willie?
I said that's an interesting analogy and something that would be fun to explore in the future. Well, maybe not fun, but interesting to explore in future episodes.
Well, I mean, that's why, you have the tropes of the black guy always dies first, AIDS originated in Africa, the sexually promiscuous ones are always the first to die, and the final girl who survives is the chaste virgin. So, that's where the analogy works. But,
I would have never put that together.
I have some bad news for you about Jamie Lee Curtis because she gets frisky. I'm just
it's not a perfect one-to-one, but that's like the general rules of the trope.
I'm just kidding. I just remember a really funny line she did when she guested on Game Grumps and like was playing with the little tiny Wiimote. And she's like, "This is the littlest thing I've ever put in my hand."
Good lord.
Man.
Jamie Lee getting it in.
Love Jamie Lee Curtis. Again, another badass actor I have nothing negative to say about and will not brook any criticism of.
I used to always get her and Sigourney Weaver confused.
How?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they were both the last survivors of
understand.
very famous late 70s horror movies.
I understand Sigourney and Susan Sarandon.
Yeah, her too.
I keep getting Margot Robbie and what is it, Jamie Presley, that chick from My Name Is Earl.
Yeah, they look a hell of a lot alike.
I really thought that was the My Name Is Earl chick in the fucking Barbie movie for like 6 months before I finally actually got to watch it.
Me too, if that makes you feel any better. When I first saw the trailers and stuff, I was like, oh, good for her still being in stuff. Damn, she looks good for her age.
I get it, though, because I always get Beyonce Knowles and Miley Cyrus confused. Wait, no, I don't. You guys are morons.
I mean, in our defense, we're just saying that a lot of white people look alike.
I mean, that's fairly fair. Can't argue too hard.
I was unironically told that by a dude who moved here from India, standing next to a 6'5", clearly German guy, and a 4'5", very Italian woman. Like, yeah, you all look alike. And we just kind of looked at one another. Like, okay, fair enough. You know, white people have been saying that shit for years, but he meant every word of it.
Dude, I used to be friends with like a couple different people that were from like that part of the world on Facebook and stuff. And it's hilarious to me like how blunt they are, and they don't really mean anything by it. Like, I used to have this dude who would message me and he'd be like, how do you get all these girls? You are fat. And I'd be like, bro, I have no answer for you. He goes, I do not understand. I'm not fat. I not get girls. You are fat. You get girls. Bro, I do not know how to answer this. But every now and then he just message me.
No, this is what you just always respond with: girth.
Yeah.
Girth
Not just
and
fat
charisma.
above waist.
But God, the first time he messaged me with that shit, I laughed for a good solid 5 minutes. How do you get girls? You're fat. And it's funny because I knew he didn't mean any malice behind it. Like, it's just his knowledge of English. That's how he structured the sentence. You know what I mean? Tremendous.
Wow.
So, what else is
How the hell did we get off on that?
Boy, that was
I don't know.
That was a nice.
I think we were talking about Sigourney Weaver's bush hair, and then all bets were off.
Yeah, that's what happens
Oh.
usually.
I remember where we started. You asked if we still considered this horror.
Yes.
Yes,
That's what
Yeah.
I would argue. Yes,
I would argue.
Yeah.
Yes, as well.
I think ultimately it's much more structured like a horror movie than a regular sci-fi action type film.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I think of it more as a thriller. But, I mean, it could be that I'm just desensitized to horror because I've seen so fucking much of it recently.
I don't think thriller is really still an extant genre either. I feel like thriller is kind of just like the halfway point between action movie and horror movie.
Well, to me,
Well,
that's
it's like
kinda
at
what
this
it is.
point with comedy has all become dramedy, which is just drama, but we have 3 jokes in there.
I mean, you could
Yeah,
say
not
that,
everything
but
needs to be a
Psych was a
romantic
dramedy
comedy.
show, and that show was fucking hilarious. Sometimes there's good jokes in them.
I'm painting with broad
Superman.
strokes here.
I definitely think this movie has enough suspense for it to be a comedy. Yep, this is a comedy. Horror.
I appreciate that I was just talking up Psych, and Dalton decided to sing the Scrubs theme instead.
Yeah.
Life is unfair. I know that's something entirely different.
No, I thought you were about to go, life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg.
Howard the Duck.
Oh, God.
I fucking love
That movie is
too.
fantastic. I saw that.
That
Duck tits.
that cover creeped me out when I was a kid.
What, you didn't like the duck tits?
When I was just walking by in the movie gallery back in the day, and I would walk by Howard the Duck, just the picture of Howard just creeped me out, so I never rented it.
I love that movie. Movie's fantastic. It's terrible. Don't get me wrong. It is awful.
Well,
but I love it. Just like
I can't remember the name of the fucking dude, but the guy who gets possessed by the evil alien
Jeffrey
multidimensional thing. Like, yeah.
the pedophile.
So many movies have been ruined by having him in it for me. And Howard the Duck was one of them. Mom and Dad Saved the World was one of them.
Beetlejuice.
Oh,
Ferris Bueller. The Hunt for Red October. Stuart Little.
was in
You
Red
have no
October.
idea how shocked I was. Like, oh boy, I'm going to watch this kid's movie. It's like, oh my god, it's a pedophile.
Isn't that the guy, Willie, you know the actor they're talking about, right? Isn't that the guy that he kind of resembles Bobby Heenan? Like blonde, kind of chubby?
I don't know Jeffrey Jones, actually.
Oh, okay.
I can't help you here.
I
I'm
think-
terrible with actors.
I think I know who
If
you're
you
talking
see
about.
you could take one look at his picture, you'd know exactly who we're talking about.
I'm sure. I'm just bad with names.
He was
and
big in the
faces.
80s. But yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about because when I see him, I think about that too. I'm like, oh yeah, didn't he get arrested for being a diddler?
Yep, he was a diddler.
Dirty diddler.
1 second. I'm getting the chat up. I'm gonna upload a picture of him so you can see what he looks like.
Yeah, that guy.
That's exactly who I was thinking of.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, that is kind of familiar, actually.
Dirty Doug Diggler.
Yep. Now every time you look at chat until you fill it back up.
We get to look at a pedophile. Hey, I can make it even better and put in Kevin Spacey.
But didn't he get acquitted?
Fuck him too.
Was he acquitted?
I thought that was acquitted. I could be wrong.
I don't know. Who cares?
Either way, man. So I have a thing where I really try to separate art from artist.
Yes.
Because I love Harry Potter, but I think that J.K. Rowling's a piece of shit, right? But like, I don't want to not love Harry Potter because I grew up like that. That's the wizarding world. It's a good world. People can expand on it. Fuck her, right? I try to be that way with Kevin Spacey because goddamn, I love American Beauty so much. That is such a good fucking movie. And oh man, it's just like, he's such a weirdo.
Well, Beetlejuice, what a fantastic movie. I love it. I gotta deal with this guy now.
Well, maybe Beetlejuice 2, they won't bring him back.
No,
Well, I'm pretty sure that the trailer opens at his grave.
yes. I think
So they made sure to get that Band-Aid off real quick.
Fair enough.
But
Hey, man.
is that all? Do you have any more knowledge to give us, Dane? Or
I don't know. I think I covered all the things I really wanted to talk about with this movie. Just, I fucking loved it. And just as a quick shout out without spoiling it, Alien Romulus, the most recent one that came out. I don't know if any of y'all have seen it.
not yet?
No.
It's worth checking out, especially if you've watched the most recent entries that Ridley Scott did with Prometheus and Covenant.
I heard pretty bad things about Prometheus.
I actually enjoyed Prometheus.
I was really excited for Prometheus because I heard it was based very strongly on At the Mountains of Madness, which is one of my favorite Lovecraft things. But the movie didn't really work that great, and those two movies served to answer questions that no one was asking. But they did do a lot to expand the universe of Alien, and Romulus does a pretty good job of taking that new lore that they added with those prequels and working it into and making sense of it within the established stuff with Alien and Aliens and Alien 3. I was expecting it to be gorier, and it does have a little bit of Star Wars Episode 7 syndrome where a lot of it does feel like they're kind of rehashing the general plot for the first Alien movie, but it's probably the best Alien movie they've made since the second one.
Okay.
It's not saying much.
Yeah, it's not a high bar to jump, but I do think that they jumped the bar very well, and they didn't pull the French stunt of getting caught on the dick on the way down. So,
Heartbreaking for that guy, but one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
and I mean, he still has some bragging rights.
Probably the only time, well, maybe not the only, but one of the only times ever that a guy was like, God, I wish my dick wasn't so big.
When you lose your pole vault because you got too much pull, that is something.
Seriously.
Well, he wasn't doing steroids. There was way too much bulge going on.
Yeah. He's an all clean athlete. Yeah, man. I would like to see more of the Alien movies, I think, even though like this didn't necessarily jump out to me as like something that I absolutely loved, but I enjoyed my time with it. I like the creature, and I think that that's a cool world to build around.
I definitely still need to see Aliens, because a lot of people say that's the better movie because maybe it's more action instead of horror. But
The understanding I have is
And
that
a brilliant name, by the way.
I gotta think that when Ridley Scott was like going to like the pitch meeting or whatever, he like writes alien on the board and he's like, what's scarier than an alien? Just writes an S at the end. Oh shit.
More than one.
I think Aliens was actually James Cameron, though,
It was
wasn't
James
it?
Maybe.
Cameron.
I don't know fucking anything.
Because
I've never once known a thing in my life.
because James Cameron brought in his boy Bill Paxton.
But I was also going to say that, like, speaking of James Cameron, like, the relationship between Alien and Aliens is kind of like Terminator 1 versus Terminator 2, where the first one is, like, a horror movie and the second one's an action movie, essentially.
Yes.
Also done by James Cameron.
Yeah,
So
that's why the James Cameron name.
he definitely had a shtick.
Yeah.
Did he do RoboCop?
No, that was Paul Verhoeven.
That wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise
bro.
me. Oh, okay. Man, you're talking about a movie that I've gone back and watched as an adult, and I'm like, holy shit, how did I watch this as a kid?
Well, you guys are talking about your movies, and the first thing that pops into mind is like, I should not be watching this at the age of 5, and that's Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, bro, yeah, that one scene. You're not Tommy or whatever.
You're that nerd.
In a Darth Vader outfit. Who would have thought it was a nerd in a Darth Vader outfit?
Darth Vader used to be
Well,
cool.
it's funny. It's just like, are you guys still watching the Pies? Yes. Haven't you had enough? No. Terrible, awful movie. Again, I like it.
The dad from Lizzie McGuire. That was my first thought when I first watched that movie because I had seen Lizzie McGuire first. And I was like, holy shit. One of the main characters from Revenge of the Nerds is the dad from that show. And I'm just like, wow, it's so weird to see him in this. It's kind of like the first time I watched Bob Saget do stand-up.
Wait, who's her dad in Lizzie McGuire?
The guy, he was the shorter guy with the black hair, the big thick glasses.
Oh, the raper.
Yeah, him. Yeah, yeah.
What's his name? Like, I think Robert Carradine.
Dude, I know a guy whose last name is Raper, and I'm like, man.
There's a
change your name.
There's an RV salesman in Indiana named Tom Raper, and his sign is all over the place in Indiana.
We had a dude who ran for office here for years, Mike Hunt.
Oh, that's
I'm pretty
wondrous.
sure he preferred people to call him Michael, right?
No.
Oh.
Sounds like an X-rated version of one of those, like, Simpsons phone pranks. Mike Hunt! Has anyone seen Mike Hunt lately?
Just every time I saw one of those signs, like, this has to be fake. It was like finding out there was a race car driver named Dick Trickle.
Tremendous. I dated a girl with her last name was Trickle. And
Did she?
oh boy, did I get some I got some heat for that.
She trickled all over you.
Trickled on my pickle.
It's not pee.
It's not pee.
That was what I heard all the time, Willie. She gonna trickle on your pickle. That's what I used to always hear. Now her last name is Raven because she got married, and that's way cooler.
Raven, yeah.
Didn't hyphenate it, not Trickle Raven.
No, but that's a great band name. Are you kidding me? A ska band, Trickle Raven?
What about Raven Trickle? No, Trickle
Then
Raven's
you gotta
better.
do doom metal. Trickle Raven comes off the tongue more. The merchandising is more.
No, I think it's the shirting.
The shirting.
No, I just
The
shirt.
shirting.
I just shirted. I need to use the restroom.
But yeah, are we doing rankings for this movie? I guess you guys don't really do rankings, do you? Do you?
We usually.
I'm high. I don't remember.
I usually just give it a quick letter grading, but unless you guys want to do something
Oh,
different.
that's right.
And I will spout off some kind of bullshit. So just any way you want to sum up your final thoughts.
So, I enjoyed this movie for what it is. I tried to put myself back into a time where I hadn't seen a lot of things that had been done like this, but better since. I thought it set a good template. I do have my qualms with the way that it ended, and I think that it was... I've always heard that Sigourney Weaver was this huge badass in this movie, and that just did not come off to me. Like, she kind of just came off as, like, yeah, the main character, but I didn't see... Maybe if she comes back in Aliens and lights some shit up, that's why people call her a badass? That could be. I've never seen it.
That is when she becomes
Yeah,
a
I was gonna say, I
badass.
think it's like an Ash Williams thing where he's just the survivor of the first Evil Dead movie, but then comes back and becomes badass in the sequel.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Because I was waiting and waiting and waiting for this badass Ripley moment that never really came. So I'll give this 7.5 impregnated men out of 10 xenomorph impregnators.
TSMP style rating.
Yes. Yeah, some things never change.
I'm just gonna say I like.
about you,
I
Willie?
like
What's
the
your
movie.
final thoughts
I
on
thought the set design was incredible. I could see where the set design influenced every interior for a spaceship from every point onward. Like you play like Doom 3, and you could see there's no right angles because everything has those stupid ass octagon doors and shit. And that shit was practically born here. And to me, that's like the cool and important thing. So I don't have to give a number. I'm not on my own show. I'm gonna say I liked it. I had a good time with it. I'll watch Aliens soon, probably because I liked it.
For me,
What about you, Jeff?
I definitely like this movie a lot more than Dalton did. And one thing we kind of touched on is the fact that it's like the attention to detail. This is a sci-fi movie, and I absolutely love sci-fi. And you could definitely tell that this world that they created is something they can live in. It's just like when they're landing on the planet, they're talking back to each other. It's just like, okay, trim out this, reduce power, do it. A lot of that stuff, it's just like, okay, that's good attention to detail. Is it scary? No, I don't. I'm definitely desensitized with movie horror. So it's just like, I was watching The Conjuring with my wife a few years ago. She loves ghost movies. I fell asleep. So it's just it's not horror. It means nothing to me, but I definitely still enjoyed myself watching this. So I'm gonna give it a solid 8 head jizzing androids out of 10 10 airbrushed bushes.
Oh man, I guess that just leaves me. But I'm completely biased, and I love this movie. I've loved it since I was way too young to have been watching it as many times as I was allowed to watch it. And just think about how iconic a movie monster the Xenomorph is for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And realize it was the Xenomorph and the Facehugger had a combined 4 minutes of screen time in the entire film.
Yes, that's shocking.
It's not scary to me.
No.
I don't know if it ever really was when I was younger or not, or if I was already too desensitized to this nonsense or just too young to think, hey, this should scare me. But the fact that they were able to work on so many themes and create a wholly original monster that is still so iconic now, decades later, that they're still making movies for it, and some of them are actually halfway decent. It says a lot for the love and care they put into this, and even if some of the effects that they did use didn't age super well, they did their best to hide the flaws where they could. So it's a special place in my heart, and, I've been on the record saying there's no such thing as a perfect game, but just to piss off Willie, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
Wait till you're back in my home court, bitch.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm going to catch it next week.
Just check your gag reflex,
yeah.
dude. You might be face
Oh,
hugged.
man. I hope you're braced with lots of paper towels, dude, because my gag reflex is on a hair fucking trigger.
All right, then. Let's get some of that little, yellow or white slime out there. Ash style. Let's go.
So, Dane, once you're done, I have 2 points that I wanted to get before we move on from Alien.
Oh, yeah. Go for it, dude.
Okay.
Because I'm good.
The first one, imagine they're doing an Alien movie, or even maybe a long form TV series, and as the commotion is starting to happen, a ship dock, and they don't reference it again for a while. They're just like, an unknown ship is docking. Like, what is going on? And then right when the movie's like they're at their desperate hope, and there's almost all hope is lost, this fucking door just blows open, and who's behind it? Doom Guy. And all of a sudden, he just comes in and just unloads on people and is like, we got bigger problems. And then it's an alien. There's aliens in hell. And then they have to go to hell and then fight a big giant alien that's down there. And, oh, it would be cool. It would be cool. Or if you want to make it more realistic, I suppose you could swap for Master Chief, since he's a space cadet, basically. But
Doom Guy is also in space, dude. Like, he fucking starts off on, Mars.
oh, that's right. It is in Mars. That's right. It's not just hell. That's right. It is Mars. So, yeah. That'd be cool. So my other one is I would like to see more horror movies utilize horror without sound.
Yeah.
And I mean that, like, a lot of horror movies bank on their soundtrack to build tension, and then they build up, and usually when a jump scare happens, there's a big from the horn section and stuff that's supposed to make you jump because it's startling. I like movies more that like scare you cerebrally. But I feel like soundtrack's a big thing. You know what I mean? Like having a movie soundtrack. So like if there was like a horror movie that was completely silent, that might be weird. I guess there was a movie kind of like that, wasn't there?
Well, Nosferatu
Recently?
was a complete silent movie.
No, not that type of silent movie. Well, but no, I guess that would fit because
I guess fuck me then. Shit. Sorry, I tried to help your stupid point then.
I always forget that Nosferatu was actually a horror movie because to me that's just But yeah, so yeah, perfect example. There was no sound for that, but like still that movie invoked terror. Because I mean it's just evolved since Nosferatu came out. Mm-hmm. And now we have all kinds of Draculas. We got Keanu Dracula. We got BBC Dracula. That was fantastic. We got Dracula Dead and Loving It, like we already talked about earlier. There's all kinds of them now, but they all stem back to that original silent movie, Nosferatu. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like they feel like they need to have that big, I wish I knew that, like a concussion.
A scare chord.
Sound. Yeah, scare chord, yeah. Just boom to like get you. Whereas, say there's a scene where there's two guys sitting across from one another and one of them turns out to be the bad guy. And like the way that person is just acting and the way that their eyes look is like, that's what strikes the terror in you, is because like that is a human monster. Even if it wasn't, even if his eyes like glazed over and they were like thinking he started morphing into an alien, if there was no music, but they did it eerily enough that it would make you uneasy without the need to really like, you're not going to have nightmares over a jump scare more likely than not, right? But you see something that shakes you to your core, you're going to see it when you close your fucking eyes. And that's the kind of shit that I like. Like, I just wish that more movies would try to incorporate that more than just the scare note, as Willie put it, because that's a great way to put it. That's just a tangent that I had. That's all.
I don't know. That's a good one, dude.
And it could have been just the mixing of the old movie. It could be the way my speakers are mixed. But there were times that the dialogue would be really low, so I would turn it up to listen to them. But then something would happen, and it was like super fucking loud all of a sudden.
I think it's just because it was a theatrical film, and they have a lot of like dynamic range compared to, you know, what you expect on TV and all of that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Could just be your the Hulu version, because it sounded fine for me on Prime.
Could just be that you're a bitch.
Any of these are possible.
I don't think you're a bitch, Dalton. I love you.
Ja, ich liebe dich auch, mein Freund.
You're still a bitch, but I love you too.
Alles für Matalan, ja. Alles gut getan. Fick dich.
No, don't fick mich.
Schnitzel.
Jeff, I'll give you 2 guesses what fick dish means.
It means fish dick.
That's what I'm thinking. It's just like, is it just a simple thing of flipping letters around?
No. Fick dish. It's a German term.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know
You want a
German.
hint?
Oh, okay.
Fick dish. Means fuck you. Me and Willie both gave Jeff the finger.
And the only thing I can tell you is ek nakoi. That's
I don't want to see your balls.
That's Lithuanian, fucker.
Nice.
Pizdiets.
So, you boys want to do a quiz?
Oh, do you have a quiz?
Sure.
I'm Mr. Puzzles. Of course I got a quiz.
I didn't know you would have a quiz for me. I'm so excited. I'm going to piss. Just start quizzing.
What?
Quiz in your pants. I'll be back shortly.
Just go in a bottle.
Open your mouth, Jeff.
Whoa, you just appeared right next to me. What can we...
Now he's gone, man. Fuck that guy.
My goodness. Jeez.
All right, so this quiz, because I know he's got his headphones on still, so he can at least hear. What quiz rules are we talking here? Is this going to be like a Jeopardy quiz? Is this going to be a Metal Gear quiz?
All Metal Gears, all for RC Toys. So, the quiz we're doing is name that alien movie.
Oh, okay.
So, I will give a brief description of a murderous extraterrestrial, and then you will attempt to name the film that said monster has hailed from.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
So
I
you'll
love that.
So you'll get the name of the alien, you'll get a short description of it, and what I'm wanting for you to do is try and guess what movie.
So it's just whoever yells it out first wins?
Well, the question, you can each guess if you want to, and we can say who has the right answer, and we can score it, or you can all work together and try and beat me at my own game.
I think I'm just going to spit out the answer the moment I think I have it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, so I guess we'll each give answers then.
All right. So I'll score you individually. We'll see who gets the most right answers. But, even if Willie shouts it out first and someone else snatches it too. So, the Name That Alien Movie quiz. We're going to start off with a softball. Number 1, the Blue Aliens.
Mass Effect.
These creatures seek... Close.
Ding. Avatar.
Movies. These creatures seek to control rather than to hunt and consume, using propaganda and subliminal messaging to warp human minds and disguising themselves as us.
Ooh,
What
nice.
V?
Say it one more time, please.
The Blue Aliens. These creatures seek to control rather than to hunt and consume, using propaganda and subliminal messaging to warp human minds and disguising themselves as us.
Wait, that's Men in Black, isn't it?
So Willie thinks Men in Black?
Yeah, I said V at first, but I don't think it's V, actually. I think V was Reptilians.
I'm trying to think of blue aliens.
Yeah, I don't know. My brain is thinking of a movie, and I can't for the life of me get it to come out of my mouth. So I'm not
Can you
gonna hold
describe
it
the
up to
movie to me? Maybe I can help you, man. I'll help you.
That's the problem. No.
You can't say anything. You have like a half-baked thought. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. It's like I can picture it in my head, but that's about it.
You got anything, Jeff?
I'm just going to throw shit out there. District 9.
Ooh, I like District 9, but that's
No,
not
I know
it,
that's
but
not
I like
it.
At least you thought of it. Because District
Lilo
9
and
is like
Stitch.
an analogy for apartheid, right?
He is a blue alien, but no.
Damn.
So, the correct answer They Live.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Roddy
Yep.
Piper. I should have known that. God
Roddy
damn it.
Piper's best film. One of the greatest fight scenes of all time in that movie.
Time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of ass.
Yes. Yeah,
Thank you, Jeff.
that movie's
That is
definitely one of
That's the one I'd love to just tweak a little.
Oh, every time you fuck that quote up, it's hilarious. No matter how you fuck it up, it's an amazing quote like that. But yeah, that's like Duke Nukem's second biggest source of lines after fucking Evil Dead.
Yeah, the day I found out that wasn't a Duke original
Right.
broke my world a little bit.
Well, when I was young, I was watching Rugrats, and there's a scene where Tommy goes, "I'm here to kick butt and drink milk, and I'm all out of milk."
Nice. All right.
Alright,
Despite that
so-
horrible failure, I still have confidence. Let's go.
I mean, that was the easiest one on the quiz. It's only going to get worse from here.
Awesome.
Great.
So everyone rocking the donut going into question 2. We
I'll
have the
rock your
Death
donut.
Angels. Arriving on Earth by way of meteorites, these blind hunters locate their victims through keen hearing and
A
echolocation.
Quiet Place.
Bird Box.
Signs.
Correct answer goes to Jeff. It is A Quiet Place.
Nice. Hell yeah.
But Bird Box was a good pull. I actually considered doing that one in the quiz, so...
I associate Quiet Place and Bird Box so closely that when he said that, I'm like, well, if that's not it, I'm picking up the crumb. I haven't seen either film.
What's the one with the blindfolded lady?
that was Bird Box.
That's Near Automata.
Oh yeah.
Do you like thick android asses?
Yes.
Why? Yeah. Why? Yes. Yes, I do.
And I cannot lie. You other robots can't deny.
So, question 3. The Bioraptors. Native to planet M6117, these light-averse hunters only emerge at a time of total solar eclipse from this system with 3 suns.
The three-body problem.
Pitch Black.
The Chronicles of Riddick.
Pitch Black is correct, Jeff.
Damn.
Man,
Shit!
2 for 3.
At least you both picked up that it was a Riddick property. I'm over here, talking
I
about
was just
Chinese
talking about like
novels and
what?
shit.
It's like what? Eclipse, 3
There's
moons,
3 moons.
three suns,
Well-
total eclipse. Pitch Black.
Well, the 3-body problem with, the 3 suns system, that you were actually thinking into it.
I was trying. I was trying.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen that
Yeah,
either.
hey.
I haven't. The only
Honest
Chronicles of
props for
Riddick
the
I've seen
effort.
is the first Riddick. I haven't seen Pitch Black, so that's my problem.
Pitch Black is definitely the best one in the franchise. That's another one where it
No.
went from horror movie to...
The best one in that franchise is actually the video game Escape from Butcher Bay.
I've never actually played Butcher's Bay. I've seen all the movies.
Isn't there an animated movie?
Oh, there is, isn't there?
Yeah, Dark Fury, I think is that one.
Huh.
Maybe we need to get into the Riddick series, guys. It sounds kind of dope, actually.
Hey, I'm fine with doing Pitch Black eventually.
All right, so Dalton and Willie, you got 2 more questions. You can bring it up to a tie with Jeff. Number 4, the Engineers. Standing over 10 foot tall, these humanoid creatures gave Earth life and later sought to take it away with a mutagenic black goo.
The Day the Earth Stood Still.
War of the Worlds?
The Engineers. I am going to say. I know this is
the
wrong.
name is so evocative.
I'm going to say Prometheus.
Oh.
Damn, Jeff, 3 for 4. It is
Holy
Prometheus.
shit!
Well, damn.
Whoa!
That's a runaway for Jeff, but let's do the last round just to do the last round, eh?
This is why me and Willie are on a video game podcast, not a movie podcast.
So I think Jeff's finally getting a feel for my quiz style because he's been knocking them out of the park here lately.
I thought I had a chance
Quick
on this
side
one, to
note.
be honest. I thought if you gave me some comedy horror type things, I would be good. But they've all been very straightforward movies.
But fun fact about the Engineers, the whole premise, that being the prequel for the Alien franchise. They had this black goo that would cause mutations, which later ends up creating the xenomorphs.
Ah,
So those 2 movies created a origin story for the alien.
gotcha.
But something that didn't make it into the cut of the movie. In the first scene of the film, one of the engineers comes to a barren Earth, drinks this black goo, it destabilizes all the molecules in his body and breaks down, and he becomes that basis for the primordial ooze that generates life on Earth.
Okay, so it's basically abiogenesis as done by seeding, essentially, but inadvertent seeding. That's an interesting idea of how humans could have first evolved.
And the big end sequence of the movie is they go to this planet, which was an outpost of the engineers, wake one of the engineers up, and he's like, fuck you humans, and he tries to hop in a ship to come back to Earth to finish what he was supposed to do, which was erase this mistake that they made that was humanity. The scene that they didn't put into the film was at one point about 2,000 years ago or so from modern day where we're at right now. They actually sent one of the engineers here to tell us that we needed to get our shit together or they're going to wipe us out. And they didn't like what he had to say and crucified him.
Oh, wow.
Tremendous.
I think that might be doing too much. I see what they're going for, but I think that's doing too much.
Yeah, he felt that was a bridge too far, and he would lose the audiences for one reason or another, whether it be, oh, we're offended, or, alien Jesus? I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I'm not offended by it, I just think that, like, that isn't something you need to explain with aliens.
I just thought it was an interesting fun fact.
It is a fun fact.
Would definitely make a cool Passion of the Christ too. It's a lot less cynical than mine, which is just Jesus comes back and starts complaining about the way that his followers are, and they don't like it, so they crucify him.
Family Guy already did it, though. It was a buddy cop comedy with Chris Rock.
At this point, that South Park joke of Simpsons did it is becoming Family Guy did it.
How soon it'll be South Park did it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. All the marbles. We'll make this one worth 20 points just so that, Jeff has to sweat a little bit, but he'll still get the true victory in his heart.
Love a sweaty Jeff.
Question 5. I gotta stop for a second because this one's a tricky one to pronounce. The Utja. These aliens are fierce hunters who ritualistically mutilate their prey. This warrior race kills for sport and claim trophies.
That's
from
Predator.
Their corpses.
Well, by God, I think that's Predator. I'm going to say Predator 2.
It's all the Predator movies.
Yep.
Predator X.
Unfortunately, and the Predator.
Oh my God, you're going to tell me it was Prey. I got completely ruined.
Prey, AVP Requiem.
We don't talk about Requiem.
But yep.
I think I have seen Alien versus Predator. I think that's the Alien movie that I remember. Because is that the one, so do they find an alien buried in ice in that movie?
Yes.
Yep. That one also takes a lot of inspiration from At the Mountains of Madness. So the whole premise was they're on a excavation in Antarctica and stumble into a predator hunting site where they keep an alien for breeding aliens for them to hunt down so that they can become men.
Oh, right, because it's like a coming-of-age ritual for the alien, or for the Predator, or the Utja, I think you said, to hunt a xenomorph.
Yeah, that's the movie.
I actually never knew that's what they were called.
Yeah, you gotta dig deep to find that one. I don't know where they actually revealed it, but I was like, let's see if just calling it not Predator throws them, and use the actual secret name for it.
Unfortunately, I'm really fucking smart, and you're a bald bitch.
Hey, you still lost to Jeff, so who's the real bitch here?
I didn't lose. You said that question was worth 20 points.
That's true. I'm the only loser here.
Yeah, but he got it right, too.
After
I wasn't
me.
who says it first.
What? Fuck you. Slobbert on my knobbert, like Cornbert on the cobbert.
I'm just sitting over here at 0, drawing a little smiley face in my hole.
Well, no, you said Predator 2. You get 20 points.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, that was such a delayed response. I don't feel like I should get credit for it.
You get all the credit.
Truncate silence will make it look instant. And then I'm going to go in there and edit it so that Jeff gives his answer first and really looks like a dumbass right now.
Damn, this is what I get for calling people bald. I won't do it next time.
Damn bald. I mean, you're not wrong.
But,
well, this was fun.
a good quiz. I like that one.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Hey, man.
Well, I did most of my good alien trivia for the actual show content, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck am I going to make this quiz about? We'll just do other monstrous aliens that try and eat us.
Jeez, are you going to bring a quiz to the crossover episode on the other show?
Yeah, and I have no idea what the fuck I'm going to do yet, but it'll be good.
Fun.
Well, you got over a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got time to prepare.
Man, 4 quizzes in 4 weeks. This is setting a record for me.
Yep.
Well, you are Mr. Puzzles.
You set a precedent to yourself, so you have to do it.
Well, I have gone on TSMP. Like every other time I've been on there, I think I didn't do a quiz, so...
To be fair, the time you got me with the actual RC car Metal Gears was so funny that, like, I feel like that one stands so high. You got a lot to do.
And the fact that I got to watch you not only go through all 5 stages of grief in 15 seconds, but invent like 3 new ones in the process.
The 7 stages
as you tried
karaoke?
to process what
the
I just
fuck?
said. sober karaoke. There's just nothing good about this.
It should be fun. I look forward to it doing Isolation. I've never played it. I have watched other people play it. I think it's awesome that you can play with your mic on.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And you have to be quiet.
You could also play, if you have a camera, you could play with that on, and not only can it hear you, it's hearing everything in your room. It's everything around you.
Yeah, just leave it to Lilith come wandering, jingling in here with her little bell charm. Ding, ding, ding. I want some pets, Dad. And I just get murked.
That's
Jonesy.
and that's why
Jonesy.
that's why I play with the mic off.
Yeah.
Because you're a bitch.
That too.
You know that Isolation is chronologically the next entry in the series.
Oh. Okay, so well, it's Prometheus, then Alien, then Isolation, then Alien Z?
Prometheus, Covenant,
Oh, Covenant. Okay.
Alien, Isolation. I think Romulus is next. Or it could be Romulus, then Isolation. I'm unsure on where those two fall in. Then Aliens, Alien 3, Resurrection.
Huh.
Where do the versus Predator ones take place?
Different universe.
Oh, well.
Well, I know the
Sorry,
first.
my ass.
I know the first AVP was like 2004. Like literally in the movie universe, it's like 2004.
Okay, so that would have been
I
like...
think you can make a case for those two being possible within the Predator universe.
Yeah, I was going to say
in
it would be like 20
continuity.
years after Predator then, yeah. And then Prey would be like the first one, right? Because that takes place in like a Mesoamerican native tribe, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. Did they make 2 Alien versus Predators?
Yes.
Yeah.
Requiem is crap.
Really? I didn't realize they made a second one. I only knew the first one.
Now, there were two fun things about Requiem. So, getting to see the Pred Alien, which, the xenomorph takes on aspects of its host. So, comes out of a dog, you get the lanky one from 3. Comes out of a human, you get the one that we're used to. Comes out of a predator, it has the predator mandibles, it has dreadlocks, it's bigger, it's more muscular. That was a fun design. Wasn't a scary one, but it was a fun design.
Given how terribly
And the fact that it
psychosexual the regular xenomorph design is, I'd feel like coming out of the horrible predator mouth phase 2, like there's a lot going on there. Because
And
I'm
the
sorry,
fact-
that is
I
an
don't remember-
evocative mouth that the predator has.
Oh, yeah. And I can't remember if they do it in Requiem or not, but I know that in other media, the Pred Alien can grab onto a host with that mouth as a adult and shoot eggs into
Oh, damn.
a host, just like the facehugger can.
Hot.
That's
Gross.
awful.
But that was a cool moment, and the fact that the movie goes through all this trouble to make you think that the boy and the girl will make it to the end together and survive all this nonsense, and then last minute, they're like, no, let's kill her, in a very just offhanded way. I was like, yeah, fuck their happiness. I enjoyed that a little bit. But yeah, Alien versus Predator, the first one, is way better than it has any right to be. Requiem, not a good.
Yeah, I remember enjoying the first Alien. But that was years and years ago that I watched it.
Man, speaking of versus movies that came out years and years ago, I remember really enjoying Freddy vs. Jason when it came out. And if you try to rewatch that movie looks and feels like it came out 20 years before it did. Like, you're like, oh, this is unacceptable. How the hell did this come out in the 2000s?
It seems like there was one pitched as a sequel to that movie that was Freddy versus Jason versus RoboCop. Am I remembering right?
Wasn't there?
I remember there were
There
were definitely rumors that the original ending was going to have Pinhead in it. And there was also going to be, and they ended up making a comic book of it, Freddy vs. Jason versus Ashley J. Williams from Evil Dead.
Wasn't Terminator supposed to be part of this versus as well?
Maybe it was Terminator instead of RoboCop. It's been so long since I heard about it, but yeah, utter nonsense and dumb fun, but...
Yeah, all I remember about that movie is the ending when Jason's carrying Freddy's head, and Freddy just winks at the camera, and then the movie's over. Like, all right.
Like, yeah, you think we were
But did
gonna
you
get
catch the other fourth wall breaks?
Well, you remember the time that Jason fell into the wind chimes and...
And when he cut Freddy's head off, there was just white stuff spraying everywhere. It was...
No, sorry, that was Fred Jizz. You know, Fred Jizz Pizza from the Five Nights at Freddy's series.
Or when Jason waited for the xenomorph to make penetration before he could kill so that he can maintain his I'm an age reference.
Ah, yes. The purity of murder.
Mm-hmm.
And Freddy was a pedophile. See, we bring it all back circular. It's all, everything we've talked about has all come back around. Horror.
This show's great. I don't know why people don't listen to it.
Give it time.
Hey, 6 people do,
One of them's from Russia.
and 3 of them's Dalton.
I have to say, as somebody who does the show and can, like, I always look at the analytics and stuff, isn't it wild to see where your listens actually come from?
I'm so
it's
stoked
like-
that we
well-
have like listeners of the Steam Machine podcast in like Latvia and Peru, and that we know who those people are, and it's not like a DNS thing. They're not like going through like things. We actually know who the Latvian guy and the Peruvian guy are.
Yeah, it's wild to me.
I still haven't figured out who could be listening to us from the UK, because we've got a UK listener apparently.
Oh, you know,
At
that's
first,
the
I
king.
thought it was maybe.
There's just old George.
Yeah, we definitely seem up, Charles's alley.
Oh, Charles. I don't know. I said George. George was the king like 300 years ago. Fuck me.
Dude, it was one of the princes. I don't think it's Charles. It might be Charles. But Count Dankula did a video the other day on all the most ridiculous things that he said.
Probably Prince Philip then.
That might have been. Well, it was an older guy. So it was Philip an
Oh,
older dude?
Andrew.
That might have been. Either way, this guy was just like an old man, and he'd be like, "Fuck, are you seriously wearing that today?" And things like that. Like the people, like they'd be like out at a gala, and they'd be like, "Oh, look how beautiful her dress is." Think it's a bit gauche, don't you think? It's just like things like that. Like he would just like just these things that you shouldn't say to normal functioning people wouldn't say. It was like a 40-minute video of Dankula just talking about his ridiculousness and laughing, and it was a pretty enjoyable video. Although I will say Count Dankula is one of those YouTubers that I don't always recommend to people because he's very, like, as a personal person, he's very libertarian. And that comes through in his videos sometimes. And I know that's not everybody's shtick. But he's very the government should leave us the fuck alone kind of guy.
Well, I mean, people get a big kick out of watching the Tiger King bullshit, and he was hardcore libertarian.
That's true. Tiger. Oh my God.
Wait,
I will never
you said
financially
was. Is
recover
that guy
from
not
this.
still kicking?
Oh, he's in prison.
Oh, that's right. What was his name?
He
Joe
finally got what he
Exotic?
wanted to be. Yeah, Joe Exotic. He finally got to be famous, and he's behind bars and can't even enjoy it.
I'm shrieking.
But
Now
I
that
actually saw his
gonna be a
presidential
tragedy.
campaign video before
yeah,
the Tiger King shit.
yeah, that's where I
it was
first
on.
learned about him from too. Is he was like running for president in like 2012 or 2016?
Seriously?
Yeah, and he like the main thing was I'm gay as fuck. Like that was his main plank.
I'm gay. I own tigers.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Vote for me.
Yeah, that's wild. I remember when we were doing YabSpot, Jeremy wrote him, and this is what inspired YabSpot, basically, is Jeremy wrote Joe Exotic and got a letter back, and he was going to read that letter out on YabSpot, and he never did.
Oh.
That was like the one payoff we never got, the edge that never came.
And how many times he tell the story about not getting 2 handshakes?
Mick Foley, you
handful.
son of a bitch.
A handful, for sure.
Handful.
But don't. Just one handful, though.
Oh yeah, not two. Not two. You only paid for one, dude.
Aha.
But, goddamn, that's just... yeah, so I don't even know what that letter says. That letter might even be real. What if it's just fiction? What if it was this weird piece of, like, his memory that's there because the aliens took him up and they implanted something in him and his chest could burst at any day now?
Or just the weirdest lie for clout anyone could ever come up with. I got a letter from the Tiger King. Can I read it? No. Like that fucking letter from Lincoln in The Hateful Eight that one dude cherished so good.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
Oh, it's a great.
Is that Tarantino?
It's a great movie.
Yeah, Tarantino.
I've been meaning to watch that because I love Tarantino. I think his movies are great.
There is the extended version on Netflix. It's like, I think they broke it down in about 4 episodes. Because I think the thing itself is like 4 or 5 hours long.
Woo. Okay, so that would be a set aside a day.
The original
kickback.
cut was a big boy too, even before they did all that.
Hey, think about it. Kill Bill was like 4.5 hours long if you add both movies up.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm defending Quentin Tarantino, freaky foot guy.
Hey now, just because he likes girls' feet does not mean he's a freak. Although he is a freak.
He is a freak, though.
I don't think he was acting in Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you go back and look at that scene, you're like, oh.
I remember when they spoofed that scene in Rammstein's music video for Engel, where the keyboardist is kind of just sitting there and the stripper chick walks over and just sticks her foot in his mouth and pours booze down her leg. And his face is like, like he's choking on the fucking liquor. Gott weiß ich will kein Engel sein. Yeah.
So, we did have one question for this week.
Oh,
A little bit light. Some jackass, Dalton? Steam Machine Dalton.
Oh, that guy's a huge prick.
and he has one too.
But he posted a picture, and the only thing he said was pick your poison. In the image, we're picking the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII or the Gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII.
Now, I'd like to clarify.
And
I'm not talking about games. We're talking about strictly swords.
Like what? Which one would I use to defend myself in real life?
Which one do you prefer? Yeah, which one would you choose?
Neither. I want the Ultima weapon from Final Fantasy IX.
Okay, well, Jeff's off in his cool kid corner by himself playing Final Fantasy IX.
Because it's the best game.
Us loser.
Making up his own rules.
It is the best game, but that wasn't the choice you were given. Like, oh, I would take my favorite sword from Elden Ring because
I'll take the Keyblade.
My show.
He's got you there.
And here I thought I was the only one who changed the rules mid-game. Buster Sword or Gunblade? I pick or.
Wow, these bitches dodging your questions, dude.
Nah.
I'll take the Gunblade, actually, because it's a gun and a blade, and that's like two things. Whereas I am already a buster, so I would just get a sword out of that one.
I look at the two, and to me the choice is like this. So, you have the Buster Sword, which I have no chance of lifting.
Yeah, that's really my issues. I don't think I could effectively wield the Buster Sword, whereas I could probably point the Gunblade at someone and shoot at them at least.
Yes.
And the Gunblade, which takes bullets, has a hammer and a trigger, there is no barrel on the thing. I've looked at the model. So, but it apparently kicks like a mule because you see it go off. And there's no real grip to it, so this is definitely going to break my wrist.
Well, the idea is that it doesn't shoot a projectile. Instead, the bullet causes the blade to vibrate and cut through enemies harder. Which is a stupid idea, but it is the idea.
I mean, it's a really cool design, but I still haven't figured out where I stand on it. Because if the choice is which design looks cooler, it's going to be Gunblade. Which one's more iconic to me? Probably the Buster Sword, because Final Fantasy VII was my introduction to the Final Fantasies, even if it isn't really my favorite one anymore.
Sure, and even as someone who was played 8 before 7, I think the Buster Sword is more iconic than the Gunblade.
So I'm going to make my criteria on something that is probably way out of left field based on the choice given, and I'm going to base my decision on the magic systems from the respective games. There are 2 materia slots in the Buster Sword, and the materia system I understand. So so I'm going to go Buster Sword.
Yeah, I think I'm just going the opposite way, where I think I could actually do something with the Gunblade. I'm not sure what, but I could probably clobber someone with it. Whereas with the Buster Sword, all I could do is like pick it up and swing it in circles.
So, I would go Gunblade to the surprise of absolutely no one. I'm a big Final Fantasy VIII fanboy, but if you're going with Dane's logic, then I'm still going to pick Final Fantasy VIII because materia took forever to level up. Junctioning stuff?
It's actually
It's like,
pretty
oh
easy.
man,
You
I can
draw
just
shit.
switch this here, here, and here. Let me tell you the easiest way to beat Final Fantasy, okay? You draw some really strong spells. You go into your junction system. You go into the part that says auto, and you auto it for attack. And it's going to put your strongest magic on your attack and your strongest magic on your health. And you're going to have buku health, and you're going to hit like a fucking truck. And that is the way you make your way through 8. And
I know that there was a draw point that you could find with Ultima, and if you were willing to just sit there and let it go for hours while it refilled and just keep drawing it over and over and over,
Yeah, it was the
you
island
could max
closest
it
to heaven,
out
right?
and just, something like that. But you could just totally break the scaling because junctioning magic outpaced any stat gains from leveling so quickly, and you could just ruin the game that way.
yeah.
But the fact that my stats went down as I used my magic always pissed me off in that game.
Then don't
And
use
I
your
managed
magic,
to
Fivehead.
get but the fact that I managed to get a materia set up to where I could beat Emerald Weapon without actually attacking, the materia system was just more fun to me. Like, I hated the sphere grid system in 10, even though I love 10. Because it just turns everybody into everything if you keep pushing it to its illogical extreme.
I think they fixed that in the remaster. There's 2 different sphere systems you can use, and one of them makes it where they're very much just building one type of character. But yeah,
That's good, because I feel like Kamari was immediately useless, because his sphere grid just runs out immediately.
But we should talk about that more whenever we do Final Fantasy X for the show, which I would love to do, by the way.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So if no one's upset if I ever pick that, that's good to know, because I know it's a longish boy. It's not the longest Final Fantasy that I've played, but
I think if you Golden Path it, it's a fairly quick one.
yeah,
It's just one of those
to get
that's
all the
really annoying optional content.
like dodging 200 lightning bolts
Like dodging hundreds of lightning bolts, yeah.
in a
Fuck
row.
every square inch of that.
Yeah.
I remember actually collecting all the primers so that I could understand the Abed language, and I'm just like, this was not worth my effort. But that's all the questions we had. So I guess the only thing we got left, Jeff, you've got the next pick.
Oh shit.
Well, I definitely, because it's Spooktober, I want to make it another horror movie, and I narrowed it down to two. Two movies I absolutely enjoy a lot. Both of them are cult classics. One was kind of well received when it released. The other was heavily panned when released. And it's just like, what movie do I want to see more? And I just actually watched it the other day, and I still love it. It's fantastic. I want to watch Tremors.
Yeah. Okay. So my little fun story real quick with Tremors that I think I've told before on other shows. I always had just regular ass cable or, just watching TV. And I flipped on, I think it was ITV or something like that. It was the International Movie Channel or whatever. And Tremors comes on. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm watching it. And all of a sudden, Kevin Bacon, yeah, fuck you. And I went, oh, they didn't bleep it. It blew my mind as a child that the TV said fuck. I was like the first time I heard them say what the heck on Rugrats. I went to my grandma. They said what the heck. So yeah, hearing fuck, I was like, what? It became my new favorite channel. They played unedited movies. Still blurred titties. But they would say curse words.
But those that are...
So yeah, that's
Oh, can't show that dirty titty, but you can say fuck.
But those are saying that's not a horror movie. Wikipedia classifies it as a horror movie, so fuck you.
Oh yeah, the first Tremors is horror. The second Tremors is more action.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's when they started bringing action.
I think only like the first 15 minutes is horror. The rest of it becomes just like an action comedy.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. I was just making a joke about Alien.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen Tremors start to finish, so it's going to be interesting for me.
Dude, Reba McEntire is the shit. That's all I'm gonna say. Is Reba McEntire is the shit in that movie. She's awesome.
Oh shit,
Yep.
Reba's in it?
Reba's in it, yeah.
Nice. So boys, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. I think pulling it up at 3 hours unedited, I think we're pretty good right now. So Dalton,
sir.
Willie, y'all want to get some plugs in?
Yeah, man. Come over and check us out on the Steam Machine podcast, bi-weekly PC gaming show where me, Willie, and whoever else decides to join us is going to play through some old PC games and talk about it for a while.
Our next episode is
game-
going to be Iron Lung, and then after that, we're going to be doing Alien Isolation with these two.
Yep.
I was about to say, if you can't remember,
And then Mikolov will be kind of like a in and out host for a while. He's coming in after Isolation. We're going to do Dungeon Munchies. And then the freebies, which the only one I have picked out so far is Higurashi When They Cry. And then after that, we'll be back to probably the bi-weekly choosing games. I know Mikolov's like, dude, does this mean I get to choose a game? I'm like, yeah, you can choose a game if you want. And he was like, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what he throws at us. I almost want to. I have an idea of what it's going to be, but I'm not going to spoil it. But I have an idea because he hasn't told me, but he's talked about this game fucking enough that I'm pretty convinced I know what it's going to be.
Okay.
So yeah. Also, and I know you plug this as well, but join us over on the Discord, man. bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. It's a fun time over there.
where you can hang out with us and a bunch of other entertaining degenerates.
Yeah,
It's a good time.
we're funny.
So, I think that means we can get our whole wrap-up going. So, Jeff, Dalton, Willie, it's been fun.
That's it.
Been interesting. It's been rambling. So, we're still on brand.
Proof.
You know I can't stay
And
on
I'm
topic.
And I wouldn't dream to try and make us. So that brings us to the end. You've been listening to Dane and Jeff's Media Dump, a consenting partner huddled for warmth underneath the Steam Machine Productions umbrella. If you enjoy our show, rate us where you're at. Be sure to subscribe and don't miss the next one. As Dalton said, if you want to hang out with us and a bunch of other degenerate friends, I am drunk and stumbling all over my words. Hang out with us on Discord at bit.ly/TSMP Discord. Our theme song tonight is Phoenix Down by Nile The Nightmare, produced by
Me.
Used with permission. You can find a link to that track as well as his full discography in the show notes or by visiting nilethenightmare.bandcamp.com.
Thanks, sir.
Well, guys, it's been a good one. It's
Yes,
been
it
real.
has.
Yeah, man. You guys cross your fingers for me that this hurricane just kind of blows past.
We'll be thinking of you, man. Please let us know once it passes how everything's going.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if the episode ends up having to get pushed back a day or two because I have no power, we'll figure that out.
Yep.
Don't worry about that.
Well, dude,
We'll figure things will get figured out once everything starts clearing up for you.
Oh yeah, it's like the other day when I posted that there might be a delay in the show. It's like what Fenris said. Fuck the show. Just be safe.
Exactly.
Yeah. Take care of you.
For sure.
yeah, dude, keep safe. Don't be Florida man in it.
I don't have hair anymore. I can't go out and do the Slayer thing. So we're safe.
Well, guys, it's been good. Have a good night. All y'all listening, appreciate you.